Chapter 1167. In Emperor Ling Ling's dojo. At the moment when the catacombs re-established the heavenly court, the bodies of Guardian C and the others shook slightly. The next moment, Envoy Jinhai, who had been calm before, suddenly looked cold and said in a stern tone, "How dare you?" Envoy Jinhai was furious. It was not the only one. At this moment, on the other side, King Qian's aura erupted and shook the sky. A seven-petaled lotus rose as his voice was extremely cold. "How dare you? Someone actually dares to re-establish the heavenly court and seize my rightful position. Bastard! Courting death!" King Sun and King Jin shouted. On the other side, King Kuan also shattered the void, and the phantom of a Buddha that seemed to come from ancient times covered the world. He shouted, "How audacious! The emperor hasn't appeared yet he dares to rebuild the heavenly court. Courting death? On you, is that you?" King Kuan roared, and the surrounding void collapsed. Behind him, the three sages didn't look good either. They were a little angry. On the other side, the two kings quietly retreated, not daring to say anything. It was a mess. The outside world might really be in chaos. Someone re-established the heavenly court, conferring titles on all sides. Not only that, they even used the Heavenly King imprint and Saint Writ, depriving them of something. Only people like them could understand what this meant. When Fong Ping announced his conferment ability, these people did not react at all. That was because Fong Ping was just talking about it and did not trigger anything. But now, the 9 sages had used the sage badges and Heavenly Emperor seals. This was unforgivable. At this moment, King Qian, who had unleashed the strength of Break 7, was no longer a nice person. He shouted coldly, "How dare you? How dare you bully me? The heavenly realm has been destroyed for 8,000 years, but no one dares to establish the heavenly court because we are still alive. The heavenly court is still here. The orthodoxy still exists." King Qian was extremely furious. Yes, the orthodoxy was still there. The Tao orthodoxy of the origin path still existed. The destruction of the heaven realm did not mean the destruction of the heavenly court. The 8 kings were still the 8 kings, and the 36 saints were still 36 saints. On the other side, Saint Tianke was also infuriated and said, "Tianji, Tianming is gone. This must be the Demon Emperor dynasty's restoration." Back then, the Demon Emperor wanted to restore the heavenly court, but he was afraid of us and never dared to do so. The annihilation of the Demon Emperor God dynasty was also related to this matter. I didn't expect them to dare to come again. Damn it, kill him. Tianke was also furious. All the heavenly kings were livid. King Kuan's eyes turned cold and froze the void. He looked around and said coldly, "Hong Yu, you're courting death. Bastard, the heavenly court hasn't been destroyed, yet you dare to rebuild it." Everyone looked at King Kuan. On the other side, Li Zhu walked in the air and said coldly, "Is Hong Yu the demon emperor of the past?" Just as these words came out, someone chuckled and said, "It's him." Let me tell you, don't be fooled by Hong Kuan's anger. In fact, between the two of them, one is playing the bad cop, while the other is playing the good cop. It's just that we didn't split it evenly back then, but this time, it's hard to say. Heavenly King Suppression revealed his whereabouts and laughed strangely. This time, Hong Yu and Hong Kuan might have reached an agreement to rebuild the heaven courts together. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to do it back then, let alone now. The two brothers have broken through 8, becoming unrestrained, both wishing to become emperors. They are going to overturn the heavens. On the other side, King Wu tore through the void and said with a strange smile, "Although I don't know what happened, I feel that you are going to be out of luck. Re-establish the heavenly court. Are they going to capture you and bring you back as slaves?" Heavenly King Zheng laughed and said, "Servant? Not to that extent. Forget about someone rebuilding the heavenly court. They conferred the new 3 emissaries, 8 kings and 36 saints, using the Heavenly King seal and Saint token. Just like the King of Human Path, the power of all living beings was feedback. The heavenly court was the orthodox back then. Regardless of whether the three realms submitted to it or not, it still had some effect. The heavenly kings and saints who were conferred were also related to the heavenly court and had some effect on cultivation. But now, someone conferred those orthodox gods again. Although the heavenly king seal and saint token have not been gathered, and there is no 9 emperor seal, they are going to usurp the throne. Heavenly King Jin laughed and looked at old Zhang, adding again, "Do you understand?" Ignoring the explanation, that kid Fong Ping conferred the title of King of Human and actually took away some of your opportunities. Do you understand? Zhang Tao laughed and said, "Of course I understand. This kid is improving rapidly, and it has something to do with King of Human. I am improving slowly now." Sigh. Looks like there is some trouble. It's more than trouble. Heavenly King Jun laughed again and said, "The first thing those newly appointed fellows do is to get rid of the previous ones and take over themselves. Now King Qian and the rest of the old farts are dead for sure." Everyone looked at the two of them coldly, watching the two of them work together to provoke themselves. These 2B asterisk stars were adding insult to injury. King Qian looked around coldly, his tone becoming colder and colder. "Hong Yu, come out. It's fine if it's not you, but if it's you, do you really think you can fight against the powerhouses of the three realms? How dare you do such a thing? You're lawless." Everyone's chi activity erupted, stirring up the void and causing it to collapse. They were all furious. Some of them no longer hid their strength. King Qian, the leader of the 8 kings, had broken through 7. King Kuan had also broken through 7. Sea Guardian had broken through 7 as well. These people did not live the past 8,000 years in vain. On the other side, Heaven's Extremity gulped. He was not crazy anymore. He really was not crazy anymore, because someone was going crazy. Heaven's Extremity looked at Moon Spirit and said carefully, "Moon Spirit, I want to leave." Moon Spirit looked at him coldly, her eyes bloodshot. Heaven's Extremity raised the earthly sovereign sword in his hand and said sheepishly, "I'll give it to you. I don't want it anymore. I'm scared. I'm going to die." Moon Spirit was not going to help Hong Yu, was she? But if Hong Yu was the mastermind, he would offend so many heavenly kings. He was going to die. Heaven's Extremity was really terrified. The 4 kings of Qian, Kuan, Sun, Jin, Tian Chief, the king of the sages, Sea Guardian, the 7 heavenly kings, the 3 sect protectors, and the other sages of the 36 ages were all there. Heaven's Extremity was shivering. It was too terrifying. This was not just a small matter. Someone had taken away their rightful position. Although they had not succeeded, the heavenly kings had the heavenly king seal and the sages had the sage token. But this was a provocation and a fight. What were they fighting for? They were fighting for the chance to become an emperor. How to become an emperor? Walk the origin Tao. Who was the rightful origin Tao? The heavenly courts. This was a chain of interests. Even if the heavenly realm was destroyed, King Qian and the others did not deny that they were the 8 kings of the heavenly courts. Moon Spirit looked at him. He did not even want the earthly sovereign sword. Heaven's Extremity had been following her because of the earthly sovereign sword. But now, this fellow did not even want the divine weapon and wanted to leave. Heaven's Extremity saw her glaring at him and said bitterly, "I don't want it. Take it away. This sword is too hot. Unless you don't help Hong Yu. Unless my father is here, I won't do it." Too terrifying. There were a few of them who had broken through 7. They were too terrifying. How could he, a newly ascended heavenly king, compare to them? Breaking through 7 was actually a limit. Not everyone had the chance to break through 8. Heavenly Hound, Cat Protector, and the others had some special abilities when they broke through 8 back then. Some of them even forged jade bones. Breaking through 7 was actually the limit of the origin Tao. He did not dare to offend so many people at once. Heaven's Extremity was no longer crazy because he felt that someone else would be even crazier than him. Moon Spirit's eyes were bloodshot. She gritted her teeth and said, "It might not be him. He's dead. He's been dead for many years. That person might not be him. Even if it was him, he would not have done it." Rebuilding the heavenly courts was too bold. Heaven's Extremity said dryly, It's hard to say. I heard back then that the demon emperor might be him. He wants to become an emperor. Back then, the demon emperor god dynasty also had the intention of rebuilding the heavenly courts. Now that it has been rebuilt, can you guarantee that it's not him? Moon's spirit snorted and stared at him. I'm not sure yet. You're not allowed to leave. I'm leaving. You dare to leave? Leave? I'll chase you to death. You're unreasonable. Heaven's extremity was furious. Wasn't she being unreasonable? Moon's spirit snorted. What was there to be reasonable about? But she quickly said, find him first. If it's really him, you can leave. Heaven's extremity heaved a sigh of relief and looked into the distance. Then let's move alone. Don't be with these people. I'm afraid. He was afraid that if they met together and these people attacked, should he attack or not? Too conflicted. Right now, Heaven's extremity only wanted to get out. Once he got out, there was still the new heavenly courts. He was a little worried. Even heavenly kings were in danger. The Spirit Emperor's dojo was in chaos. Star Town in the small world. The God Creation envoy shook his head again. It was messy enough. If it was really done by Hong Yu, then this fellow was indeed worthy of being one of the top 10 influential figures that he had selected. He was courageous enough. At this time, the heavenly courts had been re-established and the various factions had been appointed. Although many people had been offended, once they were recognized like the human race, those people would all improve. A group of saints might produce many heavenly kings. It's getting more and more interesting. At this juncture, all sorts of ghosts and demons have appeared. The God Creation envoy shook his head again and sighed. The God Creation envoy has been forgotten. What a pity he looks down on me. The 3 envoys had been appointed, but they hadn't been appointed. Didn't they know that I was appointed by the heavenly courts together with the 3 envoys? Or did they think that he was in the 3 realms and didn't dare to offend him now? You're looking down on me. The old man was sulking and couldn't be bothered to get involved. Forget it. Let them fight. The 3 realms seemed calm, but it was in a mess. At this moment, Fong Ping had also received the news, but he didn't care too much. It didn't matter if it was the heavenly courts or not. It had nothing to do with him. The reconstruction of the catacombs' heavenly courts was not special to most people. The ancient times had already become a legend. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors had not appeared for too long. Low-level martial artists had long forgotten about them. Even if there were rumors that the 4 emperors were reincarnated, it was not certain whether it was true or not. Based on this, other than arousing the anger of those old antiques, there was not much change. In the blink of an eye, April was almost over. The 3 realms had a rare period of peace. On the human side, it was also thriving. One martial artist after another entered the catacombs. Small-scale wars were still breaking out, but they no longer attracted too much attention. On this day, the catacombs' outer region, 7 southern regions, Magic City catacombs. During this period, there were also small-scale wars breaking out in the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain. With Imperial Sea Mountain as the boundary, some battles would often break out. Humans and the catacombs fought for control of Imperial Sea Mountain, including the ownership of some mineral veins. The original Hope City had long become a cat palace. Unfortunately, after the cat palace was built, the cat never came to live in this city again. He said that he would come back once he found the heaven imprisoning bell, but the heaven imprisoning bell could not be found. The cat was also very helpless. Although he had seen it many times with his own eyes, he still could not get it now at the fake sky cemetery, right? Therefore, the cat took the initiative to forget about returning to 7 southern regions. Gong Zhuanzi had already run away. Kuokang Mountain was destroyed. Why we come back? The coastline was now also a target for human defense. In the past, they only needed to defend against the enemies in the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain. Now, they had no choice but to add another line of defense to defend against the enemies in the Forbidden Sea. The powerhouses guarding the coastline were a few rank 9s from MCMAU. On the coastline, rows of energy cannons were aimed at the sea. Only the muzzles were exposed. These energy cannons had been used many times. Many sea monsters wanted to go ashore, but they were defeated by humans several times. The energy cannons had contributed a lot. Just today, when a few rank 9s were still guarding. In the sea, a figure flickered. Wretchedness was its trademark. Even when the old man was at the peak, he was still hunched, thin, and small. His eyes darted around, as if he was ready to run at any time. "We're here," looking at the city on the shore in the distance, looking at the city that looked like a big cat. The old man could not help but shiver. Was he a sheep walking into a tiger's den? Do I really have to look for it? The old man looked conflicted. Did he really have to look for the cat? Back then, he had finally escaped from the cat palace while it was asleep. Now, he had come back on his own. Was it too cheap? Why didn't it come to me? The old man was a little indignant. Why don't you come to me? If you come to me, I'll go back. There's more or less a way out. If you don't come to me, I'll go back on my own. How embarrassing would that be? The old man was none other than the cat tree. Recently, it felt that life could not go on. 2 days ago, it hit on a small island. Who knew that a powerhouse would awaken near the island the next day? When he woke up and saw it, his eyes were frighteningly bright. It had just awakened. Of course, it needed origin energy to stabilize its origin. Cat fruit was famous. Everyone knew about it. It was rare to meet a cat tree that came out alone. Who else would it eat if not him? The cat tree ran for a long time. Taking advantage of the other party's awakening and unstable realm, it finally escaped. However, it really had no other choice. Who knew how many more powerhouses were awakening in this sea? Running away like this was not a solution. With a dilemma, the cat tree soon appeared by the seaside. As soon as it appeared, many rank 9s appeared on the coastline. Guo Shengquan shouted, "Who are you?" "This is the human territory, a strategic location. If you want to go to the catacombs restricted area, go through the original bounded grounds and go through Mount Royal Sea." Humans were not so tyrannical that they would not let anyone pass. There were many powerhouses now. Humans were only defending their own area. If the powerhouses in the sea wanted to go to the restricted area, they had to go through the outer area. Humans had also released the area where the bounded grounds were. Powerhouses could go through there. The cat tree was a little conflicted. He did not move. At this moment, Guo Shengquan and the rest were a little more vigilant. He shouted again, "Come, report your name. If there's anything important, we'll report to the king and give you a reply." 8 or 9 out of 10 people who dared to walk the Forbidden Sea alone were desperate. If ordinary rank 8 or 9 martial artists walked the Forbidden Sea, they might not even walk 1,000 miles before being torn apart by the demons. Since this person was here, because the Forbidden Sea had an aura-isolating effect, it was difficult for them to distinguish the person's strength. This time, the cat tree was no longer conflicted. It would be troublesome if there was a misunderstanding and the king that killed the saint came. It wanted to go back with a low profile. It did not want to meet the king first, because it was said that the king was greedy. He wanted everything he saw. If he saw himself, he was afraid that he would be eaten. It was best to find a cat first. Thinking of this, the cat tree smiled and said, "Don't misunderstand. I'm a human friend. I'm under the command of the Gray Cat Emperor. I'm an old servant of the Gray Emperor." When he said this, Guo Shengquan was shocked. Cat Guardian Captain, the corner of the cat tree's mouth twitched. What was he thinking? No, I'm not the chief. The cat tree hurriedly explained. I'm an old servant of the cat palace. I heard that the Gray Emperor is living in the human world. I'm here to look for the Gray Emperor. As he spoke, he was almost in tears. It's been 3,000 years. I haven't seen the Gray Emperor for 3,000 years. I miss him. I only found out recently that the Gray Emperor is actually in the human world. If I knew this, I would have looked for the Gray Emperor a long time ago. Guo Shengquan and the others looked at each other in surprise. The cat palace really had servants? Guo Shengquan did not dare to be careless. He hurriedly said, "Senior, please wait for a moment. We'll send someone to inform Senior Cat immediately." Okay. Tell the Gray Emperor that I've been thinking about returning to the cat palace day and night for 3,000 years. It had been 3,000 years since it escaped the cat palace. 3,000 years ago, it was around the time the heavenly hound died in battle. At that time, the cat was asleep and it ran away. It had been looking for the Gray Emperor for 3,000 years. The cat tree thought frantically. I didn't run for 3,000 years. I was just lost. I always wanted to go home, but I couldn't find it. I went to the Quichong Mountain and waited for a long time. A long, long time? The cat tree thought wildly. Gray Emperor, I've been waiting for you to wake up. It's a pity you didn't wake up. I had no choice but to take root in the catacombs. The cat tree continued thinking. Magic City. The cat lazily turned its body and smacked its lips. Who would believe that? However, there was food. So, what if he came back? Soon, someone came. Without waiting for the person to speak, the cat yawned and said, "Let it come." The person did not say much. There were many humans in the cat clan. Its servants, although they had to be reported, they were not too worried. Besides, there was a saint in Magic City. The cat had just finished speaking when an old man with white hair and beard stepped down from the sky. It was not the cat tree, but Skywood. Cat, is the cat tree back? Skywood seemed excited. Everything returns to one. Fong Ping had lied to it last time. The ignorant and incompetent cat did not know about this cultivation method at all, but the cat tree knew. Otherwise, this impasse realm tree would not have run around so easily. It could not even be seen. The cat glanced at it and muttered, "Yeah, big blockhead. Why are you happier than me?" Skywood laughed. "I'm in a better mood now that I've met my kind." "It's not like it's your kind," the cat said lazily. "The cat tree grew from a seed." "You didn't grow from a seed." Skywood frowned slightly. After thinking for a while, he said, "Cat, speaking of this, I have some doubts. I'd like to ask." "I don't want to say." Tian Mu was speechless, but he still said, "Back then, His Majesty opened the passage to the 9 heavens and moved the herb garden outside the 9 heavens. I remember that back then, His Majesty wholeheartedly wanted to cultivate the strongest demon plant. I wonder if he succeeded?" "How would I know?" The cat was a little angry. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws. "That old man is too bad. He moved all the delicious food away. I can't enter the 9th heaven." Skywood raised its eyebrows. "Can't enter? But according to what I know, the Emperor's Spirit Emperor secretly opened up a passageway for you to go in and look for food." "Nonsense," the cat denied. "There's no such thing." Skywood laughed. "How can that be? I still remember that day. The Emperor God came to water me and scolded me." Cough, cough. "Later, I think he moved the herb garden. Even the Emperor's Spirit Emperor doesn't know where it is." The cat looked at it innocently. "Don't talk nonsense if there's no such thing. Who went to the 9th heaven to steal food? Even the big dog doesn't know about this. Besides, I don't think I've been there more than a few times. I just want to know if the plan to cultivate the monster plant was successful." Skywood said softly. "If it wasn't successful, I still have a chance." "Cat, you know what chance it is? But if it was successful, I'm afraid I won't have a chance." The cat muttered, "I don't know. The Emperor God is very bad. He also set up a big formation outside the 9th heaven. I can't go in, so I wandered around outside and ate some not-so-delicious food. But he set it up so tightly, maybe he succeeded." Skywood's expression changed slightly, and it said nervously, "After the Beast Emperor proves his Tao, the Monster Clan will no longer have an emperor. Unlike humans, who have 8 sovereigns and 4 emperors, the Monster Clan only has a Beast Emperor. The Monster Plant Clan might be able to give birth to an emperor this time. But if the Emperor God really succeeded," the cat said indifferently, "that has nothing to do with me." "Cat, you can't say that." Skywood struggled. "I'm an emperor. It's easy for you to drink emperor-level drinks and eat emperor-level fruits. Why would I mistreat you? But if the monster plant cultivated by the Emperor God becomes the emperor of the monster plants, you may not have a chance." The ash cat looked at it with a lifeless face. Did this big block of wood just sell itself out? "Then what do you want?" "I don't know how to become an emperor." Skywood wanted to say something, but stopped. After a while, it said, If I encounter this monster plant in the future, can you ask the human king to help me kill this monster?" And although the cat tree is a monster plant, it only has the strength of a true god. I'm a little worried. It was worried that the cat tree's return might have some unexpected consequences. The monster plant had no emperor. This era was the era of the human clan, and also the era of the monster plant clan. There was a high possibility that a monster plant emperor would be born in this era. But now, this possibility was full of uncertainty. Skywood needed more help. The cat muttered. Everyone wanted to become an emperor. Even this big tree wanted to become an emperor. It was so boring. As it was thinking, the cat smiled. It was back. There was delicious food. Chapter 1168. Sky the Arch. A mournful cry rang out. Fan Yuan, who was practicing martial arts in the distance, trembled. What a fake cry. So fake. Who was it? Fan Yuan turned around and felt that it was a little painful to the eyes. A skinny old man's eyes darted around. The next moment, he suddenly flew over, hugging the ash cat's leg and wailing. It was miserable. He did not care that there were outsiders present. Sky the Arch, I want to go home. I've been looking for it for 3,000 years. The ash cat kicked its leg, wanting to kick the shameless guy away. However, the cat tree hugged its leg tightly and cried, 3,000 years. 3,000 years ago, Sky the Arch, you were in a deep sleep. I was ignorant and left you, and then I couldn't find my home anymore. The ash cat continued kicking. This tree was crazy. It hugged its leg and refused to let go. Let go! The ash cat glared a little angry. It was still hugging. Why was this tree so ugly now? It used to be a tree, but now it was in human form. It was too ugly. You know that I like to be chubby, but you have to be so skinny. Who's disgusting? The cat tree let go, embarrassed. Only then did it notice Heavenly Wood. Although Heavenly Wood was a saint, and it would definitely be wary of him in the outside world, here the cat tree did not care. What was a saint? Back in the day, what had it not seen? It had seen the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. It had also seen most of the heavenly kings, and it often saw those saints in the cat palace. A mere saint, the cat tree did not care about Heavenly Wood. I already have a master. So what if I'm a saint? How dare this old guy laugh at me? The ash cat ignored it and stared at it for a while, muttering, You're so skinny. Did you bear a lot of fruits all these years? I've been hungry for years. Give it to me. Sky the Arch, the ash cat's ears twitched, and it said unhappily, Don't shout. It's so annoying. You didn't talk before. Why do you talk now? Also, you're too ugly. How did you transform into this? The cat tree looked aggrieved. I'm afraid that I'll be targeted if I transform too well. Is it ugly? Do I have to be like this old fellow beside me and transform into this ghostly appearance, making me look like an immortal? Don't you know that once the battle starts, these seemingly powerful fellows will be the first to be killed? Thinking about it, the cat tree quickly took out more than 10 cat fruits, as if there were more than 10 fat cats sleeping soundly. He grinned and said, Songdi, this is what I left for you. That's it. The ash cat patted it with its tail. It wasn't too happy, but it didn't stop it from eating. It picked up the cat fruit and started eating. As it ate, it slapped its tail in enjoyment. Finally, there was food. There's still some left, but this old servant is afraid that Emperor Song will eat too much, and there won't be any more next time, right? You can get married next time. Cat Tree Morning, you said it was easy, but how could it be so easy? Fortunately, the cat did not continue the topic. It asked while eating, Why did you run away back then? The cat tree said carefully, Back then, when you were asleep, the celestial the Arch went to the cat palace and asked me to bear some cat fruits. When I left, I forgot to close the door. I was just about to transform, so I prepared to go out and transform. The big dog came back to life, did you know? I know. The celestial thearch is resurrection. I'm happy from the bottom of my heart. The cat looked at it disdainfully. Who are you trying to fool? Who doesn't know you're afraid of the big dog? As they were talking, a huge monster walked over. The cat tree's eyes widened, and its whole body trembled. It was so scared that it was about to foam at the mouth. Fan Yuan and Heavenly Wood were dumbfounded. The Jiao also widened its eyes. What's wrong? The Jiao looked at itself up and down. What's wrong? I came over to take a look. Why did this guy vomit when he saw me? Am I that ugly? Is he looking down on me? That's not a big dog. The cat felt embarrassed. You just said you were happy, and now you're so scared. Also, what's wrong with the puppy? Why did it turn into a big dog? Why are all the humans and monsters I know normal? At this time, the cat tree also felt something was wrong. It gulped and looked at the Jiao, cursing in its heart. You scared me. Almost scared me to death. I really thought the celestial Arch had returned. The cat ignored it and muttered, right? When I was sleeping, I think someone came to borrow something and took away the cat palace. Do you know who? I forgot about it. Its cat palace was lost for a long time. It remembered that it had been lent out, but it didn't remember to whom. But to borrow something when it was asleep, it should be someone familiar, right? The cat palace was a divine artifact. The cat palace, the cat tree looked at the cat. Don't you remember? After thinking for a while, the cat tree said carefully, I was lost at that time, but I heard that someone took the cat palace to participate in the Demon Emperor Dynasty's battle. Who? The cat really didn't know about this. It only remembered that it had promised someone in a daze, and regretted it the moment it woke up. Its home was gone. When it woke up, it was already wandering in the wilderness, sleeping thousands of meters underground. That wicked ghost had directly moved its home away. The cat tree hurriedly said, I'm not too sure about the specifics. I didn't go to watch the battle. It was too dangerous. I heard some of the powerhouses who participated in the battle mentioned that it might be Miss Zebra. Her? The cat was surprised. Is it her? She's not dead? I didn't see her before. That little brat is too much. Why did she move my cat palace? The cat was upset. Was it that little girl Z, or who borrowed it? That was too much. I was sleeping soundly, and she actually threw me out. I'm so angry. But it was probably her. Ordinary people couldn't enter the cat palace, and it would wake up if there was real danger. It wasn't like it was just lent out in a daze. Was she beaten to death? The cat was puzzled. Usually, people who borrow my things are beaten to death, the cat said sheepishly. I don't know about that. After all, they're all powerhouses, and Miss Z is also very powerful. She's powerful? The cat muttered, I don't think so. She used to steal my food, and I beat her until she cried many times. Dark history. Hearing the cat's dark history, Fong Yuan, who was not far away, was disdainful. The cat was so bad to bully a little girl. She didn't think too much about it. The little girl was now more than 10,000 years old. Beside her, Tiamu couldn't help but interrupt. Is Miss Z also alive? I'm not too sure about that. I've seen her a few times in the past. And among the descendants of the Emperor, Miss Z has the best temper. The cat said casually, of course, in Ling Chen's palace. I'm the most favored. She has to be at the back, so of course she has to be more obedient. He didn't even blush when he said that. Tiamu was speechless. How dare you say that? You've eaten up all of Ling Chen's assets. Ling Chen's bloodline doesn't have many supporters, unlike the earthly sovereign, who has people from the 36 saints and the 8 kings. But Ling Chen doesn't. Since the powerhouses support you, you have to give them some benefits. But 80% of the good things in Ling Chen's palace were eaten by this cat, and the rest were given to the disciples. As for the outside world, don't count on it. Heavenly kings and saints also needed resources. If you didn't get any benefits, why should others support you? Moreover, Ling Chen had beaten up many people for this cat. Plus, he wasn't close to men, and most of the powerhouses were men. In the end, this bloodline had the least powerhouses. Tiamu didn't say anything. He smiled and said, Miss Z's talent is not bad, and she has never died. If she were alive, I'm afraid she would also have a chance of becoming a heavenly king. I don't know. The cat thought for a moment and said, at that time, she was at the overlord level? I don't really remember, but she was quite weak. After saying that, he asked curiously, why did she want to fight earthly sovereign? The cat shook its head. It didn't know that either. The cat wasn't too interested. It only knew who had borrowed its cat palace. It couldn't remember before, but now it knew. At this time, Tiamu interrupted again. Cat tree, do you know the all things return to one technique? The cat glanced at it with a proud face. The wretched old man's proud expression was obviously disgusting. Tiamu's old face twitched as he looked at the cat. The cat said lazily, if you know, then teach it. This is the big tree from before, the tree that ate that nest of birds. Tiamu looked at it. You denied it before, but you're not denying it now. The cat seemed to know that it had said something wrong, so it hurriedly shut its mouth and said quickly, "It's that tree. Do you know it?" Only then did the cat know who this fellow was. The Tianmu that became a demon. No wonder its aura felt a little similar to its own. At this moment, it said reluctantly, "All right then." Tianmu heaved a sigh of relief. It really knew it. This was great. His body could become smaller, unlike now, which was incomparably huge. If a war broke out, he couldn't hide even if he wanted to. It would be too conspicuous. These demons were chatting. In the sea, Fong Ping walked out of the closed door, training ground again. These few days he had been honing himself and stabilizing his realm. Although there was no obvious improvement in his strength, he felt much better than before. As soon as he walked out of the closed-door training ground, Fong Ping received the news. The cat servant had come looking for the cat. Desperate realm. Fong Ping thought for a while. Desperate realm. Could it be that tree? The cat tree came back on its own? Fong Ping had always wanted to look for the cat tree, but he had too many things to do and really did not have the time. Fong Ping did not need the cat fruit much, but it was good stuff that could stabilize the source world. Fong Ping could produce origin energy, plus 2 saint tokens could stabilize the source world, but the origin energy that he provided to others was very difficult to stabilize the source world, and the consumption was also very high. The cat fruit also had its own uniqueness. The cat fruit was secondary. Fong Ping actually still had some things to ask the cat tree. This fellow had hidden in the catacombs for so many years, it was not like he did nothing. Fong family. Happy and harmonious. The cat tree flattered the cat, finally coaxing the cat. However, the next moment, the cat tree's expression changed. Behind him, someone smiled faintly and said, "Is this the cat tree that ran away?" Someone was approaching him, without a sound. Very soon, the cat tree's expression changed again. He knew who was coming. He turned around hurriedly and said, "Cat tree greets Lord King." Fong Ping smiled, sizing him up. Although the cat tree was an old man, Fong Ping's eyes lit up as if he had seen a beauty. The cat tree shuddered in fear. He felt like he was going to be eaten by this fellow. This fellow's notoriety was no better than Tengu's. "Sit down and talk." Fong Ping pressed his hands. The cat tree looked at him helplessly. There was no place to sit. Should he sit on the ground? Well, trees grew on the ground. The cat tree had no choice but to sit down. In an instant, he was a lot shorter than Fong Ping. Fong Ping laughed. This tree was interesting. Fong Ping used his mentality, and a chair moved over. He sat on the chair, looked at it, and smiled. "Cat tree, or should I say Blue Emperor?" No. I just miss Lord Cat too much. That's why I call myself Blue Emperor." Fong Ping pressed his hands again, smiled, and said, "I heard that you can bear a cat fruit every 3 years. You've left the cat palace for 3,000 years, right? That's 1,000 cat fruits." The cat tree's face turned purple. "That was when you were rank 9. Now that you've reached the pinnacle, you get 1 fruit a year. That's 3,000 cat fruits. Fong Mao, you get 1,000. I'll get 1,000, and we'll keep the rest for ourselves." The cat's eyes widened. That much? It didn't know. The cat looked at the cat tree with anticipation. Were there so many cat fruits? The cat tree wanted to cry, but had no tears. It explained hurriedly, "Lord King, you've misunderstood. When you're in a desperate situation, it takes even longer. The cat fruits in the past were far less effective than the ones now. Lord Cat should have noticed this. Now it takes at least 10 years to bear a cat fruit. I'm also cultivating now. Actually, sometimes when I'm in closed-door cultivation, I don't care about the results. After all these years, less than 100 cat fruits have been born." Fong Ping said lightly, "Is that so? If it's so precious, why would you give it away so casually? King Pine has it, Li Zhu has it. I think it's everywhere. If it's so little, would you give it away so casually?" Fong Ping came to find it for the cat fruit. His main concern was why the cat tree would give it away. He found one at King Pine's place. Later, Li Zhu gave one to him to redeem Li Yi. Where did the cat fruit come from? As soon as he said that, The cat glared at the cat tree, its big face full of displeasure. That was its. The cat tree had given its cat fruit to someone else. The cat tree looked bitter. Meeting a king man was much more difficult to deal with than the cat. The king man might be young, but he was not easy to fool. As long as the cat had something to eat, it would be fine. It had probably forgotten about those things, but Fong Ping had not. Since it was back, the cat tree did not hide anything. It said bitterly, "Lord Man King, you've misunderstood. I was forced to do it. King Pine's cat fruit was obtained from the Guardian Palace. I live in the Guardian Palace, and I'm also from the Monster Plant clan. Those demons would sometimes trade some treasures with each other. I've also traded a few. No one knows the cat fruit. Those who know it are all ancient powerhouses. As for King Li Zhu's, it wasn't obtained from the Guardian Palace. He came to my place of residence and demanded it by force." Demanded by force? Fong Ping raised his eyebrows. He asked for one? Exactly 10. The cat tree wanted to cry too. I didn't want to give it to him at first, but Li Zhu's aura burst out and intimidated me. I had no choice but to provide him with the cat fruit. What did he want the cat fruit for? I don't know. What's his strength? At least the Saint Realm. When did this happen? About 2,000 years ago? Fong Ping's eyes lit up. When did this happen? About 2,000 years ago. The cat tree explained. It happened after the war between the North and the South. Li Zhu is actually older than everyone thinks. The outside world thinks that he rose to power a few hundred years ago. In fact, he rose to power 2,000 years ago. It's also the period when the sects were destroyed and the catacombs, 4 majestic chambers were formed. Fong Ping murmured, "It's him. This was him." There were many meanings. The God-forging envoy said that in every era, there would be someone who rose to power. However, during the era of the catacombs, 4 majestic chambers, only the Life King rose to power. Li Zhu. Fong Ping actually suspected that he was the reincarnation of a powerhouse. But now, if Li Zhu was already very powerful 2,000 years ago, then he might be the powerhouse who rose to power during the era of the catacombs, 4 majestic chambers, much stronger than the Life King. What happened to him after that? The cat tree thought for a while and said uncertainly, 2,000 years ago, when he came to find me, there was actually something unusual. His aura was actually not very stable. Besides, there seemed to be 2 auras, and the chi of origin was a little chaotic. Your humble servant guessed that he might be fighting for something, the cat tree said, and said, after that, he should have died for a period of time. The Li Zhu that you humans know might not be fake. Maybe after he died, his strength declined, so he started again, and that's why there was the Li Zhu who rose to power. Fong Ping's eyes flashed. Li Zhu. This fellow really had to pay more attention to him. A very scary fellow. Also, he could not guess what this fellow was thinking. He more or less knew what other people were thinking, but this Li Zhu fellow was really complicated. He wanted the cat fruit, probably because his origin was injured, and he had no choice but to take the cat fruit to restore his source world. Fong Ping said and quickly added, previously he said that he was injured. Maybe his injury had not healed, and he had no choice but to lie low for a period of time to recover. Becoming a lord was probably beneficial to his recovery, but he did not want to be constantly watched, so he pretended to be injured. At this point, Fong Ping said, there's another problem. During the North-South War, some of the mounts defected and escaped. But after that, I don't seem to have found these mounts. I've asked people. There are actually some ancient demons in the 2 demon royal halls, but they disappeared without a trace. The time when they disappeared was about 1,000 years ago, which is when unquestionable Jian barged in. Were they killed by unquestionable Jian, or did they hide? During the North-South War, many demon mounts defected and escaped. They should not have died. But now, Fong Ping did not seem to have met any of them. The cat tree had lived for a long time and had experienced that era, so he should know something. Fong Ping was very interested in this batch of mounts. During the North-South War, these were the mounts of the blessed Grotto Heaven's powerhouses. Among them, many demons in Kuokang Mountain defected and escaped. The cat tree said sheepishly, about that period actually, I don't know much. At that time, Master woke up, cough cough. Anyway, the meaning was clear. At that time, the cat woke up and stayed in King Mountain. Actually, it did not dare to show its face. During the North-South War, the cat fell asleep, and it hid for a long time before coming out. The cat went into a deep sleep during the North-South War. Don't you know what happened after that? The cat tree looked at the cat carefully. Seeing that the cat was still eating its fruit, it breathed a sigh of relief, saying carefully, "I know a little." After the North-South War, the catacombs rose. The four majestic dynasties were established, and the sects were destroyed. Those demons that defected and escaped actually appeared for a period of time. Some of them joined the Demon Clan royal court, and some entered the Forbidden Sea. At that time, I also entered the Guardian dynasty, and came into contact with one of the defected monsters a few times. In the beginning, these demons were still quite active, but 1,000 years ago, after the Demon Emperor entered the catacombs, these demons almost all disappeared. Get to the point, are they dead or alive? They should be alive, the cat tree said hurriedly. This batch of demons might have been taken away by a powerhouse and hidden. They're used as a surprise attack. Who? Fong Ping raised his eyebrows. Unquestionable Jian? Probably not. The cat tree thought for a while and said, it might be someone from the extreme path. Lord King, the extreme path, might have a traitor. What? Fong Ping was surprised. The cat tree said softly, there might be a traitor in the extreme path. The person who broke the North Sea Venerable Emperor's beast-taming technique might be someone from the extreme path. Because only people from the extreme path would be extremely familiar with some of the North Sea Venerable Emperor's techniques. Only those people would be able to control the beasts and make them work for him. However, it was a bit chaotic at that time. The divine sect was involved, the demon emperor was also involved, and there were also some hidden powerhouses involved. Whether it's true or not, I'm not too sure. King Kuan might know because that person should have cooperated with King Kuan back then. If King Kuan doesn't know, then he might have cooperated with the Demon Emperor dynasty. The cat tree had lived for so many years, and it was considered shrewd. It said immediately, Master was clearly close to the North Sea Venerable Emperor back then, but later on, he became close to the Demon Emperor. I think this person might be related to the Demon Emperor, or even someone who arranged some things. Fong Ping looked at the cat and said solemnly, you were clearly on good terms with Gong Zhuanzi back then. How did you end up hooking up with the Demon Emperor? The cat looked innocent. What did he mean by hooking up? What did he mean by that? I don't know either. The cat felt wronged. Gong Zhuanzi wasn't fun, and he didn't fish with me either. He only knew how to cultivate in seclusion all day long, or he would feed the demons. I wanted to eat him, but he was so stingy, only giving me a little. After that, he took in disciples, and I had even less time. I met Little Sword, so I played with him. That's simple? The old cat muttered, probably. But Little Sword seems to know what I like. As it said that, it added, Little Sword is actually a good person. Anyway, that's what I think, but after he broke through to the peak, he changed a little. Liar. In the beginning, I don't think he lied to me. It still explained to Unquestionable Jian that Unquestionable Jian did not lie to it in the beginning. But later, maybe he really did lie to it. The cat vaguely felt this point later on. The Unquestionable Jian at that time was a little different. Fong Ping did not say anything more, connecting some clues in his mind. There was someone behind Unquestionable Jian. It could be an extreme path disciple, or it could be Hong Yu. Hong Yu, Unquestionable Jian, extreme path disciple, King Kuan. Some of these powerhouses were connected, but Fong Ping had not thought of the key point yet. As for who that extreme path disciple was, whether it was Lin Hai, Fong Ping felt that the possibility was not high. Lin Hai had just been revived. These guys, making it so complicated, what are they trying to do? Fong Ping cursed in his heart. This matter was very important. He felt that even the extreme path venerable emperors might be in some people's schemes. Would Old Yao be fine? Old Yao won't trust those extreme path disciples easily. He's not that stupid. I'm just afraid. Fong Ping's head hurt. He was not too sure where Old Yao and the rest were now. He was worried that these guys would be plotted against. Some of the things that the cat tree said made him feel that other than these forces on the surface in the three realms, There might be a big hand controlling some things in the dark. When I become a heavenly king, I'll drag them out and beat them to death." Fong Ping cursed in a low voice. The cat tree shuddered. It was so scared. It always felt that it would be very dangerous in the human world. It was still thinking. Fong Ping exhaled and said, "Forget it, let's not care about this for now." Cat tree, human rank 9. I'll provide 1 cat fruit to each of you as the fee for protecting you. That's it. I have something to do. I'll leave first. Fong Ping tore the space apart and left with a whoosh. The cat tree was stunned. Human? Rank 9. Hundreds, almost 1,000, right? Chapter 1169. Global High Martial Arts. I was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to be brave. I'll take a day off. Currently in the middle of typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 1170. The Forbidden Sea was vast and boundless. No matter how far you went, you couldn't seem to see the end of the sea. The 33 immortal islands were known as all the forces in the sea. However, the furthest of the 33 immortal islands was less than 500,000 miles away from the coastline. It sounded extremely far, but for powerhouses, emperor-level powerhouses could easily tear space and travel 1,000 miles in one step. Hundreds of thousands of miles. If you didn't care about the cost, you could reach it quickly. Saints and heavenly kings were even faster. Some people once went deep into the sea, but it was extremely dangerous, and it was still difficult to see the end. On the day of the cat tree's return, the day the catacombs rebuilt the heavenly court, deep in the sea, an island that looked like a fairyland was faintly discernible above the sea. On the immortal island, birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. Birds and beasts wandered freely on the island. On the huge immortal island, from time to time, some people could be seen flying into the sky and burrowing into the ground like immortals, very free. An undiscovered overseas immortal island. An immortal island that was not among the 33 immortal islands. In the center of the island, in a colorful land, there were pavilions, small bridges, and flowing water. Fish swam in the water, very comfortable. Leisurely, the surrounding small lakes rippled. In a pavilion, a young man was fishing with a fishing rod. Behind him, 2 young women, one holding a fan, gently fanning the man. A person was brewing tea, and the fragrance of the tea overflowed. The young man smiled, staring at the water, suddenly holding the fishing rod in his hand. The next moment, a small golden fish was caught out of the water. At this moment, footsteps came from behind. "Greetings, young master." The 2 maids bowed slightly to greet. The person who came was also a young man, looking young, with some arrogance on his face. Young. He was really young, not the old antique's youthful appearance. "Master!" The young man who had just arrived shouted, standing behind the fishing young man with a respectful face. The fishing young man did not reply, took back the fishing rod, and put the small golden fish into the bamboo basket beside him. After doing all this, he turned around and said with a smile, "Death is here, sit." The fishing young man said with a smile, "You are lucky. I just caught a spirit dragon fish. I will cook it myself later. I guarantee you will swallow your tongue." The young man hurriedly smiled and said, "Master is personally cooking. This disciple is indeed lucky. Master hasn't cooked for a long time." The fisherman laughed and gestured for him to sit down. The maidservant began to pour tea. The fragrance of the tea permeated the air. Spiritual chi swept out, forming a small spiritual chi vortex in midair. The fishing man frowned slightly, and the expression of the servant girl who was pouring tea changed slightly. Seeing this, the young man Yun Mie hurriedly said, "Let me do it." After saying those words, he stood up and personally poured tea for the fisherman. This time, the vortex of spiritual energy in the air dissipated, not the slightest bit exposed. The spiritual energy was restrained, and the tea in the teacup was golden yellow, just like ordinary tea. The fishing man nodded slightly and said with a light smile, "That's right. Drinking tea was also a form of cultivation. The path of cultivation is ever-changing, yet it doesn't deviate from the core. The strength of one's realm is not important. For cultivators, the strength of power, the strength of the flesh, the strength of the spiritual sense, these are the basics. Basically, the first is the control of power. The second is the combination of cultivation methods. The third is weapons and equipment. The fourth is battle experience, courage, and strategy. The fishing man still had a smile on his face. When Yunmia poured tea for you, your power didn't leak out, and the spiritual energy in the spiritual tea was controlled within. That's enough for you to master the control of power. Yunmia said humbly, Master, you flatter me. I'm still lacking in many areas. Not bad. The fishing man picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then he waved his hand lightly, and the two maidservants bowed and left. Their steps were light, and they didn't make any sound. After they left, the fishing man smiled faintly. In the era of great competition, everyone is fighting. The human world is fighting, and the land is fighting. Everyone is fighting. Cultivation is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't move forward, you will fall behind. 8,000 years have passed. The fishing man sighed softly, and his eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life. He said slowly, It's time to end it. Yunmia listened attentively. Seeing that the man had stopped talking, he said softly, Master, is this the real great era? Yes. The fishing man stood up, looked outside the island, and murmured, Every time, it feels like a great era is coming. In the age of chaos, when the chaotic heavenly king was born, I thought the great era was coming. In the era of the demon emperor dynasty, when the dynasty was unified, I also thought the great era was coming. In the era of the 100 schools of thought, I thought the great era was coming again, but they were all wrong. The man sighed, shook his head, and said, In those times, there were people who rose, but they didn't reach that point. This time is different. Those who should have appeared have appeared. The man chuckled and said, The subduing heavenly king who has been in hibernation for many years, Hong Yu who has been hiding for many years, the fallen heavenly hound, Sherpa who died back then, the powerful cat palace chief who died before the heavenly realm was destroyed, Li Zhu who has been hiding in the dynasty, unquestionable Jian who has been hiding in the human world other than them. There are the reincarnations of the 4 emperors, the martial king Zhang Tao of the human world, the current king Fong Ping of the human world, the heavenly beloved cat. The man named one person after another and said emotionally, The 3 realms have been created since the origin, and the essence is in this era. If it isn't this time, there won't be a next time. In this era, someone will definitely become an emperor, or even create a new Tao. The man's last 4 words caused the void to tremble. Yunmia's mouth was dry. Create a new Tao. 30,000 years ago, the Tao of origin was created and Chu Wu ended. The Tao of origin was the only Tao in this era. They were all going for the Tao of origin. The Tao of origin became the only Tao in the 3 realms, the strongest Tao. Everyone wanted to prove their Tao. But now his master said that someone might create a new Tao. Each Tao was stronger than the last. If it wasn't for the fact that the Tao of origin was stronger than Chu Wu, it wouldn't have replaced Chu Wu as the only Tao in the 3 realms, and the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors wouldn't have been born. However, since the Tao was created 30,000 years ago, until 20,000 years ago, the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors proved their Tao. After that, there was peace for more than 10,000 years, and there were no new emperors in the 3 realms. 8,000 years ago, the heavenly realm fell, and a new chapter began. The 3 realms went from prosperity to decline, and it entered a chaotic state of war. Master, is there really a Tao more powerful than the Tao of origin? Yunmia's mouth was dry, and he said, The Tao of origin has no end. I feel that the Tao of origin is already extremely powerful. Does this new Tao exist? Where there is a will, there is a will. The fishing man chuckled. During the Chu Wu period, no one thought there was a Tao more powerful than the Tao of beginning martial arts. Those Chu Wu leaders were all heroes. But during the transition period between the Chu Wu and the 3 realms, the heroes fought for supremacy. Some rising stars defeated those Chu Wu leaders. The Chu Wu declined, and it became a thing of the past. The man exclaimed, "During that era, the 9 sovereigns were still young and inexperienced. They fought everywhere, defeated the Chu Wu, and became emperors. The deity emperor defeated the Chu Wu martial god and became emperors in the land realm. The East sovereign defeated the Chu Wu sword god and broke the Chu Wu sword. The sword god's sword was destroyed, and the East sovereign died. The human sovereign defeated the Chu Wu sword god and killed him to prove his Tao in the human realm. The earthly sovereign." One by one, the man described the battles of the emperors. He exclaimed, "First, there were the 9 emperors. Then, there was the Emperor of Heaven Reverse who rose on the Chu land. After reaching the golden body stage, he began to cultivate origin energy. He wanted to become the second elementary martial artist. Unfortunately, he did not become the second one." Yunye murmured, "Those emperors and celestial emperors are dragons and phoenixes among men." "You are wrong." The man shook his head. "They are heroes, heaven's prides. But that is fate. Chaotic Heaven King, Hongyu Li Zhu, subduing Heaven King. Are they really not as good as them? Not necessarily. But have they become emperors? Have they reached the peak of the Tao? No." The man answered his own question and sighed. "Because the timing is not right. Due to bad luck, none of them succeeded. Therefore, they lay dormant, waiting for the next opportunity, for the next battle. If the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors could prove their Tao at that time, then next time someone can do it." The man looked at Yunye again and said with a smile, "Today, the time has come. This time, everyone will come back. Fight. Fight for a chance. Fight for their lives. No one is willing to accept that they will fail. Why can the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors do it, but not them? They are not weaker than the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. Therefore, they are not willing. This time, they will give it their all." "Master, you also have a chance." Yunye looked at the man and said softly, "Are you going to come out this time?" The man smiled. "I will. I will also take a gamble. Not only me, but you and your fellow apprentices will also have a chance." The man's eyes were deep as he drank the tea in one gulp. "I have waited for a long time. I've also done many tests and experiments. Annihilation, your senior apprentice brother, there was someone who fought against the geniuses of this generation, but he was no match for them and died in battle in the 3 realms. Someone replaced him and became the generation's hero, the era's favorite. At first, I wanted to replace him, but then I realized there is no need for that." The man said calmly, "You can also kill the current generation's prides, gather the invincible momentum, gather the heaven and earth's providence, and become invincible. I've already received news that in this generation, many seeds have emerged from the human world, seeds of supreme experts. Martial King Zhang Tao, a heavenly king, human king Fong Ping, a true god, had the combat strength of a sage. These 2 are the generation's peerless seeds. There is also the longevity swordsman, Li Chongsheng. If the 2 of them are the 9 sovereigns, he is the new generation's 4 emperors candidate. Yunye, this time, it is time for you to graduate. First kill Li Chongsheng, then kill Maple King, Huai King, destroy overseas immortal islands Luo Yu, Yuwuhua, Longxian, kill North Emperor's Ling Xiao, gather the invincible momentum, fight Hades, defeat him, then fight Human King, kill him, then kill Martial King." The man looked at his disciple, his eyes deep. "If you kill Martial King, you will become the strongest. Master and disciple, we will fight the 3 realms again, and this generation will achieve Tao." Yunye swallowed and said softly, "Master, the 4 emperors' reincarnations, the man closed his eyes and thought for a moment, then sighed. "As a master, I teach and solve doubts. I have learned the Tao and the 4 emperors' teachings, so I have some ties, but the fight for Tao is extremely cruel. The 4 emperors have not grown up yet. When they grow up, I'll personally make a move and settle things with them." Yunye did not ask further, but said hesitantly, "I have only just entered the emperor rank. Once I kill the others, human King Fong Ping will have the combat strength of a sage. Emperor rank? The man chuckled. How can others understand my bloodline? I have learned the Tao from heaven destroying the arch. In terms of combat strength, heaven destroying the arch is stronger than heaven destroying the arch, but he has always lost and never won. Heaven destroying Thearka's body is so strong that even Chuwu leader might not be able to defeat him. Yet, he has always lost to heaven destroying the arch. Do you know why? Yunye pondered. Master once said that the extreme Tao has obvious flaws. Even the four emperors are the same. Although heaven destroying Thearka's body is strong, his spiritual consciousness is weak. Normal martial artists can't make use of this flaw, but heaven destroying the arch has always won because of his powerful spiritual consciousness. He forcefully sealed heaven destroying Thearka's origin. Without the origin, heaven destroying the arch will naturally lose every battle. That's right. The man smiled. This is the strength of heaven destroying Thearka's bloodline. Of course, it is not easy to seal the origin. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors are powerhouses of the same rank. Among the 13 powerhouses, heaven destroying the arch can only seal heaven destroying the arch. Although the 9 sovereign spiritual consciousness is not as strong as heaven destroying Thearka's, it is average and has no shortcomings. It is difficult for the others to seal heaven destroying the arch, but heaven destroying the arch is heaven destroying Thearka's natural enemy. When the two of them fight, heaven destroying the arch will always lose. Heaven destroying the arch is not the weakest powerhouse among the 13, but he has never defeated heaven destroying the arch. This is probably his biggest regret in life. Hearing this, Yunye hurriedly said, "Then, can I seal the King of Man? Fong Ping is a rising star. His origin is only at the early stage of true God. No matter what is special about him, his spiritual consciousness is not as strong as yours. You are confident that you can seal his origin." The man looked at Yunye. However, he has a 9th refined golden body and has the power of a sage. His foundation is also very strong. The reason why I put him last is to remind you that even if you seal his origin, his combat strength will not be weak. He might be close to the strength of an emperor. Remember, it is difficult for you to seal someone whose spiritual consciousness is stronger than yours. If his spiritual consciousness is not as strong as yours, the chances of sealing his origin are very high. However, you have to be careful and think about the consequences of failure. Don't be blindly confident. Yunye nodded. My spiritual consciousness is much stronger than ordinary emperors. It is comparable to those sages. I am not afraid of fighting with ordinary sages. It is just that the King of Man has the power to kill sages, so I am a little afraid. Being afraid is not a bad thing. The man laughed. One must have a heart of fear. However, being afraid without being afraid is the true meaning of cultivation. If you're not confident, don't fight with Fong Ping easily. I understand. Then you can leave the mountain tomorrow. The man said. Soon, a seal, a set of armor, and a spear appeared in his hand. This is a gift from me to you. Sage order, lock the void. Spirit sage armor, protect the flesh. God-slaying spear, destroy the strong enemy. When you leave tomorrow, bring the 8 mountain-guarding divine beasts with you. Master, Yunye said hurriedly. I can leave the island by myself. With the mountain-guarding divine beasts around, I will lose the chance to train. The man smiled faintly. They will not attack unless your life is in danger. Remember, the so-called reliance is on yourself. If you don't think about it, you will strengthen yourself instead of blindly escaping from it. That is training. I understand. After replying, Yunye took the 3 saint weapons and said happily, Master, now the disciple has left the mountain, can I introduce myself? The man smiled faintly. It is fine. The sky-sealing bloodline has not appeared in the world for a long time. Not many people know about it. In this era of great competition, annihilation, come out of seclusion and fight for the heaven-sealing bloodline. Take it as making the heaven-sealing bloodline famous. I will remember this. I will not let the sky-sealing bloodline's reputation be tarnished. Yunye was looking forward to it. The man stopped teaching and laughed. He looked at the bamboo basket and said, "Help me kill the fish." Yes. Killing the fish wasn't that simple. Yunye reached into the bamboo basket with one hand. In the next moment, the small golden fish in the bamboo basket suddenly opened its mouth and bit at his hand. Yunye harumphed and slammed his palm forward, causing sparks to fly. At that moment, the tail of the golden fish suddenly expanded countless times and swept over like a dragon's tail. A loud rumble rang out. A bloody gash appeared on Yunye's finger. Yunye seemed to be enraged. He sneaked a glance at the man and felt embarrassed that he had to go through so much trouble to kill a fish. Seal! At that moment, Yunye harumphed coldly. The air trembled as a gate that seemed to have come from the ancient times descended from the sky. There was a loud boom. The gate fell into the bamboo basket and entered the golden fish's body. The initially powerful fish's aura suddenly dropped by more than half. At that moment, Yunye harumphed and grabbed the fish with a single hand. The golden fish cried out in pain under his grip. Soon, a human voice could be heard. "Lord, spare me." As if he didn't hear it, Yunye's sharp fingernail instantly slid across the fish's abdomen. Riot! The fish's intestines were cut open, revealing its translucent organs. A crystal bottle appeared in Yunye's other hand, and he poured out a large amount of liquid to wash the fish's organs. Then, a thin knife appeared in his hand, and he started to scrape off the fish's scales. The golden scales fell off, and the fish let out a shrill cry. Yunye glanced at the man who was looking at him silently. He released his mental energy again and sealed the fish completely, silencing it. The man continued to watch as Yunye dealt with the spirit dragonfish as if he didn't see it. It wasn't until Annihilation scraped the scales off the fish, rinsed its internal organs over and over again, and was about to extinguish its vital energy that the man smiled and said, "There's no need to kill it. Fish, you have to eat something fresh. Only when it's alive will it taste good in the pot." The spirit dragonfish is only a little more common now. In ancient times, even I would have a hard time eating one. Zhang Xian sighed. Yunye knew the story behind it. In ancient times, this fish was so delicious that it was almost eaten by a cat. No one would be able to eat it. If anyone caught this fish and didn't give it to the cat, the spirit emperor would come knocking on their door. The man sighed and said, "In the past, when we destroyed the Heaven Palace, any brother who caught a spirit dragonfish had to give it to that cat. Now things have changed. That cat isn't as domineering as it used to be." Yunye smiled as he dealt with the spirit dragonfish. "Master, that cat is only at the emperor level now." The man waved his hand lightly. "Don't provoke that cat. That cat is unusual. Although it's only at the emperor level, the sky sealing lineage might not be able to seal its great Tao. In the past, even the 9 emperors couldn't seal its great Tao. Emperor level. It's an emperor level. You might not be its match. Moreover, the cat's strength isn't just in strength. Remember, if you meet it, try to avoid it. Disciple understands. Don't call it by its name. A cat is a cat. If you don't mention its name, it can't do anything to you. Disciple understands." The man nodded and smiled. "Don't mention it. Someone will deal with this cat. The Chu Wu lineage hasn't been completely wiped out. Killing the cat failed in the ancient times, but it might not be the case now." Killing the cat. Yunye looked at the man, who said indifferently, "It'll happen sooner or later. Of course, if someone kills it, someone else will protect it. Let's see if this cat can be destroyed, and if it'll affect the Daos of the origin after it's destroyed. We don't know yet, but some people might not be willing to gamble." "Master, if the cat dies, will our source of the great Tao really be shaken?" The man pondered for a moment, then smiled. "Not necessarily. Some people are just bluffing. Heaven Extermination, the Arch, once said that if the great Tao is strong enough and sturdy enough, the cat's death won't affect anything. Some people who only look impressive might have their great Tao shattered. If those people die, then so be it." Yunye understood and didn't worry about this anymore. Clearly, he felt that his great Tao was sturdy and wouldn't be affected. The master and disciple started to cook the spirit dragonfish. A spirit dragonfish in the desperation realm. The desperation fae, with its origin sealed, was just ordinary. It wasn't a match for the master and disciple. Soon, the smell of fish came from the island. Some of the fae hissed in a low voice, then quickly calmed down. At the same time, in the Forbidden Ocean, in a heavenly realm fragment. Deep within the heavenly realm fragment, there were cracks in the void. Some dilapidated palaces were swaying, as if they would collapse at any moment. Outside a relatively intact palace, a person stood, holding a saber in his hand and carrying a longbow on his back. He looked at the dilapidated palace with an indifferent expression. Wang Jinyang. Wang Jinyang had been missing since he left the Nanjiang catacombs. There was a plaque hanging on the top of the palace in front. It was also dilapidated. Tyrant. Wang Jinyang glanced at the plaque and seemed to recognize it. He said softly, "The Palace of Heaven Tyrant Arch? I don't think so. It's built by his successor." As he spoke, he shook his head and said with a smile, "Does he have a successor?" After teaching a few people, he left behind a cultivation technique and disappeared. Disciples will have to search the entire 3 realms to find him. Rather than looking for him in the Heaven Tyrant Palace, they might as well go to the Heaven Destroyer Palace. If the disciples of Heaven Tyrant, the Arch, wanted to find this master, they would have to try their luck at the Heaven Destroyer Palace, because Heaven Destroyer Palace was frequented by Heaven Destroyer Palace. As for his own Heaven Destroyer Palace, they might not even visit it once in 100 years. He was also in a hurry. As he spoke, Wang Jinyang stepped in. In the dilapidated palace, there was almost nothing left. Wang Jinyang did not care and looked around for a while. Soon, he saw the dilapidated but domineering statue in the center of the palace. It was arrogant. The figure of the statue was dressed in armor. It held its head high and raised its fist, as if it was showing off. Wang Jinyang looked for a while and smiled. He took a step forward and suddenly reached out his hand to pat the head of the statue. He said with a smile, "Heaven Tyrant, let me borrow the power of your jade bone." As he spoke, he punched the head of the statue. The flesh on his hand instantly exploded, revealing the white bones. It was a terrifying sight. Wang Jinyang did not seem to see it. At this moment, the head of the statue was smashed by him, revealing a jade-colored long thread inside. Wang Jinyang reached out and grabbed the long thread. The long thread struggled. It was extremely sharp, instantly cutting the bones in his hand and making a cracking sound. "You're already dead. Do you think you can defeat me with just a strand of hair?" Wang Jinyang laughed. "Your head is so hard. Don't tell me it's because you plucked out all your hair. How many people did you give your hair to? That's enough." Having said that, he could not help but talk to himself. He laughed. "I shouldn't have tricked Qin Fengqing back then. Tricking you to pluck out all your hair is probably not a problem." As his voice fell, he let out a low roar. His vitality surged and forcefully captured the jade-colored long hair. Then his vitality wrapped around the hair, as if he was extracting something. In an instant, an incomparably surging force erupted from the top of his head. Wang Jinyang gritted his teeth and forcefully absorbed this force into his body. Bang! His flesh exploded. Wang Jinyang ignored it and continued to absorb this force. Wrong side. Extreme Tao. Extreme Tao. Extreme Tao. That's someone else's Tao. In his mind, there seemed to be an invisible voice. Wang Jinyang was calm and collected. He said slowly, "I'll walk my Tao. There's no need to point fingers at someone who's already dead." The voice dissipated. There was no more sound. Chapter 1171. In the dilapidated hall, Wang Jinyang's body shone. Broken, mended, soon, the strand of hair was completely shattered. Wang Jinyang exhaled softly, his face slightly pale. He was different from others. Others had golden bones after rank 8, but he had never forged golden bones. However, his white bones were also glowing jade. They were not jade bones, but they were not weaker than golden bones. Vitality path. Wang Jinyang chuckled after sensing his qi and blood. Extreme Tao. The reason why Extreme Dao was called Extreme Dao was because the other Daos were difficult to walk. Hence, he gave up on the other Daos and focused on one Dao. Was Extreme Dao the correct path? If so, why did the extreme path Heavenly Emperor not become an emperor? Jean, are you really dead? Wang Jinyang murmured softly, but no one answered. Soon, Wang Jinyang smiled and said, "Actually, I hope that you're not dead. If that's the case, you will be you, and I will be me. And I am not someone you can entrust yourself to." Still silence. Wang Jinyang did not care. He exhaled softly and walked out of the hall. Looking at the shattered void, he murmured, "Maybe I should go deeper. It would be better if I can find some of the heaven-exterminating emperor's remains." It was dangerous to go deeper. The deeper one went, the more likely it was to encounter great terror. There might even be some monsters in the early stage of martial arts in the depths of the Forbidden Sea. Those monsters were isolated from the world and might not have cultivated the origin path. They were more similar to the early stage of martial arts. Not only that, there was great terror in the depths. Celestial Cemetery, Wang Jinyang murmured. The Celestial Cemetery was in the depths of the Forbidden Sea. Countless powerhouses died in the core area of the Great War. It was a place of boundless danger. There were even emperors lingering on their last breaths. Heavenly Hound and the others went there. He did not know what the situation was like now. Wang Jinyang thought about it and laughed. That was fine. If Heavenly Hound and the others went, even if they could not do anything, they could still cause chaos in the Celestial Cemetery for a while and prevent it from affecting the three realms. Otherwise, if someone walked out of the Celestial Cemetery at this stage, the three realms would be in chaos and the humans would suffer. He stepped out of the Celestial Realm fragment. After losing the statue and the hair of the Celestial Monarch, it was as if the world had lost the last bit of energy supporting it. With a loud boom, the void exploded and the pocket dimension disappeared completely. Wang Jinyang didn't even turn his head. It was hard to tell if he was feeling a little sad. This was the place left behind by one of the few disciples of Emperor Batian. Back then, many of the disciples of other emperors had recovered. But how many of the disciples of the four emperors had recovered? He might really die. After all, the four emperors were different from the monarchs. Some of them even walked the path of the initial martial lineage. Without source energy, how could they recover? If he died, then he would really die. After flying for a distance in the sea, Wang Jinyang suddenly turned around and said softly, "Earth is depending on you. I'm afraid I won't be back for a long time. You can hold on." Earth was much more powerful than before. Many, many more. However, Wang Jinyang knew that this was only the beginning. At this juncture, the people who should appear were about to appear. This time, it was more dangerous than any other time. Those who were alive, those who were dead, heavenly kings, saints, beginner martial artists without exception, they would all appear one by one. Earth, the center of the storm. When the last passageway opened, it would also be the most dangerous time for Earth. It would be completely exposed to the eyes of the powerhouses of the three realms. The land that had completely lost its barrier might be surrounded by powerful enemies. He must strive to rush back before that day. Join the war. Participate in the war of defense. Participate in the war of the human race's rise and fall. Wang Jinyang left these words, and his figure quickly disappeared on the spot. It was time to go. The catacombs. Outland. Fong Ping restrained his aura and appeared in the Outland again. On Mount Royal Sea, Fong Ping stood alone, looking at the catacombs, looking at the new heaven and earth that seemed to have a thin membrane between heaven and earth. For a moment, he was a little dazed. Looking back, looking at the Outland, looking at those human cities, Fong Ping was getting more and more lonely. Old Zhang and the others were not here. This Mount Royal Sea only had him. At this moment, he was too lonely. Where were the people who had fought side by side with him in the past? They were all gone. Now, only he could stand here and defend this endless line of defensive humans. "I will wait for you guys to come back." Fong Ping murmured softly. "How can I defend this long line of defense alone? How can I fight in all directions alone? Come back quickly." Lonely. There was no one to fight side by side with me. At this moment, there was suddenly an extra aura behind him. Fong Ping did not even turn his head, saying lightly, "Go. Seeing that you have helped the human race a few times, I won't kill you." Behind him, an incomparably cold youth whose appearance was somewhat similar to unquestionable swords, looked at Fong Ping's back, speechless for a long time. After standing there for an unknown amount of time, his voice was cold, his tone complicated. "You are really not the Demon Emperor." "I am not." Fong Ping smiled and said, "I am Fong Ping Unique." "The Demon Emperor? Is the Demon Emperor very strong?" "You are not master." This person was not a human, but a demon, the Demon Swordsman. In Mount Royal Sea, the Demon Overlord, the top rank 9 powerhouse, the Demon Swordsman. Now, it had taken form. This was the symbol of a pinnacle. Ranked in the top 10 of rank 9, it was now also a pinnacle Taoist. It led the millions of demons in Mount Royal Sea, forming its own territory, living in Mount Royal Sea, forming its own lineage. That day, that person, is he master? The cold youth was like an abandoned child, a little expectant, a little sad. Fong Ping lied to it. He was not the Demon Emperor, not the master. However, the person who fought side by side with the king that day, it felt vaguely familiar. Was it master? Fong Ping turned around, smiled, and said, "Maybe. You are not stupid. You have proven you're Taoist. You should understand some things. Since you are here today, let me ask you, if one day I become his enemy, will you help him? Or help me?" The Demon Swordsman looked at him. After a while, said in a low voice, "Master, help me achieve Tao. If Master has an order, this little demon will definitely die." "Stupid guy." Fong Ping laughed, waved his hand, and said, "Get lost. I will not clash with your master for the time being. If it really comes to that, I will spare you once. I will not kill you. In this world, there are not many people who can still keep their hearts. There are many people who are foolishly loyal, but you are a demon. Maybe it will be different." As he said that, he added, "Bring the demons under your command. Leave Mount Royal Sea as soon as possible. This place will soon become the battlefield of the 2 realms. A third force. Although you have proven your Tao, can a mere paragon rival the powerhouses of the 2 realms?" The Demon Swordsman was silent. After a moment of silence, said, "This little demon has already contacted everywhere. Maybe they will build another forbidden land in the sea. Mount Royal Sea demons, although not a match for all sides, they will not be bullied by all sides. The idea is good. The result may be sad." "Demons?" Fong Ping smiled and said, "The demons of this era may not have much space to survive, unless the bloodline of the Beast Emperor shows their strength." After saying that, Fong Ping did not care anymore, continued to patrol along Mount Royal Sea. In the current Imperial Sea Mountain, he was the only one who could patrol everywhere without fear. Even Wu Quishan could not. He who had just entered the Paragon, Fong Ping was still worried that he would be surrounded and killed in Mount Royal Sea. Behind, the Demon Swordsman did not follow anymore. Watching Fong Ping leave, its gaze was also incomparably complicated. Although it was deceived by Fong Ping a few times, it did not hate, only felt that it was a pity. It was a pity that the King of Man was not the master. This boundlessly domineering King of Man killed strong enemies in all directions, suppressed the human world alone. The human world rose because of him. Such a person, if the master, how good would that be? Mount Royal Sea. Fong Ping continued to walk. Very soon, a bounded domain covered by a large formation appeared. In the next moment, a figure appeared. Xianhua, the powerhouse from the Xuanda Grotto heaven, when he first came out of the mountain, vowed to find Fong Ping to spar, to make Fong Ping pay the price, who asked Fong Ping to empty the Xuanda Grotto heaven. In the Battle of the King's Battleground, the Xuanda Emperor Xianji also made a move. He made a move for the human race. Because of this, although the Xuanda Grotto Heaven's strength was not considered strong, it still existed at this moment, dominating a part of the Outland because of the human race's support. Fong, King of Man. Xianhua was getting older. In the past, many people on the rank 9 Wind and Cloud list had achieved Tao, But he had not. When he first met Fong Ping was still only rank 8 strength. Now Fong Ping had killed a saint, but he was still only rank 9 strength. He could no longer be like before, mentioning that kid Fong Ping the moment he opened his mouth. Senior Xianhua. Fong Ping laughed. Xianhua hurriedly said, Senior, you flatter me. King of Man, are you patrolling Mount Royal Sea? Yes. Fong Ping laughed. It's fine here, with the Xuanda Grotto Heaven guarding. It's not a problem. A few days ago, the catacombs rebuilt the heavenly court. It wasn't too much of an impact here, was it? Xianhua immediately said. It wasn't affected much, but Xianhua hesitated but still said, but the catacombs sent an emissary here, wanting to confer the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. He stamped the Heavenly King order, requesting the Xuanda Grotto Heaven to join the heavenly court. What do you think, Senior? Fong Ping was not angry, smiling. Senior, don't worry. Venerable Emperor Xianji fought for the human race before. This is friendship. Now, it's time to make a choice. After all, the catacombs have 9 saints. I can understand Senior's choice. The Xuanda Grotto Heaven actually still had a true god guarding it. However, he did not sense this true god's aura today. Fong Ping did not know where he went, nor did he ask. Xianhua exhaled softly, saying quickly, Naturally, I'm still leaning towards the human race, including the sect leader. But now, the human race in the catacombs, after all, is inferior to the catacombs. If I reject now, I'm worried that the catacombs will retaliate. What I mean is, don't express your stance, don't reject. King of Humans, please understand. Fong Ping nodded slightly. I can understand. Actually, in the last battle, Senior Xianqi did not fight. I already guessed it. In that battle, Wu Quishan and the others fought with the catacombs' powerhouses. Actually, the human race still had help. The people from the Xuanda Grotto Heaven, the true god of Dragon-Chained Sky, these two forces, their venerable emperors had participated in the battle that day. But this time, the powerhouses from both sides did not fight. Fong Ping could understand, but he was more or less disappointed. They could not stand firmly on the human race's side. Of course, in that situation, 2 true gods could not change anything. They were afraid that after the human race was destroyed, they would also be defeated, directly annihilated. This was actually understandable. Fong Ping's current mentality was much better than before. If it was before, perhaps he would be dissatisfied. Now he understood a little more. The human race's situation was unclear. How would they dare to pick a side easily? It was not easy to pass down their legacy for so many years. A little carelessness and annihilation would happen overnight. After Fong Ping finished speaking, he smiled. Senior, don't worry too much. This is good too. Then I'll continue patrolling the various territories, Senior. There was more politeness and less intimacy. Xianhua felt it. Actually, before this, Fong Ping still had a very different view of the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. He was here. Venerable Emperor Xianji taught him the golden body honing method, solving old man Li's big problem. Fong Ping also took away a lot of treasures. He even let a few monsters in, causing a lot of trouble for the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. Among the territories, Fong Ping was the closest to this side. Moreover, Xuanda Grotto Heaven was also the birthplace of the Qin family. The Qin family, one clan with 2 paragons, fighting to the death for humans. This was all different. Watching Fong Ping continue to walk on Mount Royal Sea, watching his figure gradually getting further away, Xianhua's expression was conflicted, suddenly shouting in a low voice, Wait, human king. Fong Ping turned back. Xianhua's expression changed again, suddenly saying, In the world of great competition, how can we not fight? Great changes, great chaos. The most taboo is to be at both ends. The strength of the Xuanda Grotto Heaven is not strong. The sect leader is not here, but before the sect leader left, since he chose the human race, today is no exception. As soon as he finished speaking, Xianhua's voice was loud, saying loudly, Taibai Mountain Xuanda Grotto Heaven is willing to guard the southern territory for the human race forever. As soon as these words came out, the Grotto Heaven was instantly stirred. The catacombs' emissary came to confer the title of Xuanda Grotto Heaven. In order to smooth things over, the true god in charge chose to go far away, dragging the catacombs, unwilling to give an answer. On the human side, no one came, nor did they say anything about Xuanda Grotto Heaven. However, at this moment, Xianhua, a non-true god powerhouse, represented the Xuanda Grotto Heaven and gave an answer. This senior rank 9. At this moment, his aura exploded, his aura like a rainbow. After saying that it was not enough, he shouted again, Taibai Mountain Xuanda Grotto Heaven is willing to guard the southern territory for the human race forever. His voice echoed in all directions. Above the heavenly palace, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven people walked out one after another. Some were old, and some were young. Some were worried, some were fired up. Some wanted to say something, but stopped. Some were relaxed. This time, Xianhua made a decision, made a choice, and clarified the ownership of the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. However, in this way, when the war started again, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven would be seen as a human force. Maybe they would be the first to be destroyed in the great chaos. They were in the outer territory. They did not have a top-notch powerhouse in charge, unlike the Wanwu bloodline, which had the North Emperor bloodline powerhouses to suppress everywhere. They were also unlike the Weiyu Mountain bloodline. Weiyu Mountain did not have a clear attitude, and now Weiyu Mountain's Jiang Ke had also proven to be a paragon. In addition to the previous paragon powerhouse Jiangsu, one sect had two paragons. In a situation where they did not express their stance, they still had some confidence. Moreover, before Venerable Emperor Qing Tong left, he also revealed a suspected saint-level strength. In this way, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven was the weakest, but it was the first to make a choice, very easily becoming the target of all parties. Below, a young martial artist gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, "Let's do it. At most, we'll fight. Right now, we're so aggrieved, afraid of offending this and that." From afar, Fong Ping looked at the rank 9 who was getting older, suddenly laughed and said, "Don't you want to discuss with Senior Xuanqi?" Xianhua's aura flourished, saying loudly, "No need. Senior brother is not here. The Xuanda Grotto Heaven's old Taoist has the final say. The Xuanda Grotto Heaven is not strong, but they are willing to fight." Having said that, he shouted again, "Don't worry, King. If the catacombs' emissaries come again, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven will chop off their heads and send them to the human world." Fong Ping laughed, looking at him, saying slowly, "If that's the case, the human race is also willing to join hands with the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. From today onwards, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven will be the human race's first Grotto Heaven." Fong Ping's voice was loud. His aura also erupted, his voice reverberating in all directions. The Xuanda Grotto Heaven will be the human race's first Grotto Heaven. If Venerable Emperor Xuanji returns, he will be conferred the title again. As soon as he said that, several mentalities extended over in a continuous manner. There were powerhouses from the catacombs, powerhouses from Weiyu Mountain and Wanwu Mountain. Today, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven, under the decision of a rank 9, had made a choice. Join hands with the human race. No one spoke. No one spoke. They were all observing quietly. Xianhua, the rank 9 martial artist, straightened his back at this moment. Over there seemed to be another aura spreading from the sea, a little anxious, a little panicked. Xuanda Grotto Heaven's only true god powerhouse, Xianqi. This veteran paragon did not expect that after he said he would not get involved, his junior brother would make a choice after he left. From today onwards, the Xuanda Grotto Heaven would probably be dragged into the quagmire of war. However, at this moment, he was already helpless. Xianhua informed the 3 realms that the king had made a promise. At this moment, if he dared to say that he was going back on his words, that would completely offend the human race. He was extremely helpless. Perhaps only this powerhouse himself knew how sullen he felt in his heart. Fong Ping continued his journey, not staying long at the Xuanda Grotto Heaven. However, at this moment, Fong Ping no longer hid his aura, releasing his aura, continuing to patrol along the Imperial Sea Mountain. Very soon, he passed by Weiyu Mountain. At Weiyu Mountain, 2 paragon powerhouses soared into the sky. They did not speak, nor did they say anything about joining hands. Weiyu Mountain did not express its stance easily. Fong Ping nodded slightly. The two Paragon powerhouses bowed and gestured. Fong Ping left in a flash. Jiang Kue glanced at the direction he left, looked at his uncle Jiang Su, and said with a complicated tone, "Uncle, are you really not going to choose?" Jiang Su said in a low voice, "Now, the catacombs have 9 saints. In the human world, only Fong Ping can fight a saint. As for the others, they might not always join hands with Fong Ping. If they express their stance easily, Weiyu Mountain will be in danger. Before the sect master returns, we can't easily drag Weiyu Mountain into the mire." Jiang Kue sighed. "But if Fong Ping overpowers the 3 realms and joins hands with the human race, it might be our chance." "No rush," Jiang Su said softly. "Now, actually, it might not be the beginning. When those powerhouses in the fake sky cemetery return, that will be the time for all parties to reshuffle. Before that, the human race is also at its most precarious time, full of uncertainty. At that time, when the sect master returns with the sect master's strength and wisdom, I think the sect master will have a good choice." Jiang Kue did not say anything else. He only hoped that the sect master, who was his family's elder ancestor, would have a good choice. Although the human race might not be as strong as the other forces, Jiang Kue and Fong Ping had interacted many times and vaguely felt that they should choose the human race. Although the catacombs was extremely powerful now, with 9 saints suppressing the 3 realms, Fong Ping's strength improved rapidly. Who could guarantee that the catacombs would always be stronger than the human race? On this day, Fong Ping patrolled the Mount Royal Sea defense line. They passed by Wanwu Mountain. Although the Wanwu lineage did not express their stance, Sage Yuwei's participation in the battle already meant something. Fong Ping crossed the Southern Territory, entering another foreign territory for the first time. First, it was the Western region. The experts guarding the Western region and the 27 Western regions went to Imperial Sea Mountain to accompany the sovereign personage in patrolling the area. Wu Jueho was holding down the fort. However, there were many rank 9 martial artists. Every time Fong Ping arrived at a territory, there would be powerhouses coming to greet him and accompany him on patrol. None of the powerhouses from the catacombs in the outer territory dared to show up and stop them. After patrolling the West region, Fong Ping entered the North region very quickly. Experts from the Northern Domain, Hall of Gods, and other holy lands also made their way to Mount Royal Sea. The might of a sovereign personage started spreading throughout the outer regions, the entire human race. Wherever they went, the catacombs' powerhouses retreated. For a moment, Fong Ping was in the limelight. 3 days. After spending 3 whole days, Fong Ping had finally patrolled the entire Mount Royal Sea defense line in the outskirts. Along the way, a saint's mentality descended and was forcefully shattered by Fong Ping. Fong Ping did not care which saint it was. Those who dared to probe, without exception, all of their mentality were shattered. It was incomparably domineering, but no saint showed up. After Fong Ping finished patrolling the outer regions, it had also quietly entered May. Exactly 2 months had passed since the opening of the fake sky grave. At the same time, in the Forbidden Sea, Boundless Mountain, where the Donghuang bloodline was located, the saint-level powerhouses under Dong Huang leaped into the air, looking at extermination outside of Boundless Mountain. They frowned slightly, their expressions somewhat solemn. "Someone from the extreme Dao bloodline?" Extermination laughed. "Not really. I'm from the Fontian bloodline." The Fontian bloodline, the old saint frowned again. After a while, he said, "The ancient Fontian bloodline. Are you from the extreme Dao bloodline or the beginner bloodline?" His mentality was very strong. He was not weaker than him. This kind of powerhouse was either from the extreme Dao bloodline or a powerhouse from the beginner bloodline who walked the path of spiritual consciousness. He must be related to them. Extermination laughed. "The Fontian bloodline has been passed down for 8,000 years. It does not originate from ancient times." After saying that, he looked at Luo Yu, who had just leaped into the air. He looked at his golden body and shook his head slightly. Weaker than I expected. Luoyu, 3,000 years ago. He was a prodigy from the overseas immortal islands. Now, he has only become a true god. He was slightly disappointed. Luoyu did not give him the feeling that he was too strong. Of course, he was still a rank 9 golden body after advancing from rank 8 to rank 9. After that, he had honed to rank 9, becoming a true god with a rank 9 body. His strength was stronger than the average true god. His physique was also very strong. However, that depended on who he was compared to. Extermination had long become an emperor level. His mentality was comparable to that of a saint. Naturally, he felt that Luoyu was weak. Luoyu frowned and looked at him, not saying a word. "I'll give you time." Extermination laughed. "The current you is still not strong enough. I hope you can catch up. Otherwise, you won't have a chance in this life." Luoyu's aura exploded, his eyes cold. "Are you provoking me?" "I'm not provoking you," Extermination said mildly. "The prodigies of this era are not like that. You're still lacking." The old saint from Emperor Donghuang's faction looked around with a deep look in his eyes. After a while, he said mildly, "Sky sealing progeny. I might know where you came from. However, Emperor Donghuang's faction is not afraid of any force." Extermination bowed slightly. "Senior, you are not the one I chose. If you want to fight, my master will come out." The old man's expression changed slightly. Then, he snorted coldly. His eyes were sharp, but he suddenly calmed down. "You came out this time to fight the prodigies of this era?" "That's right." The old man laughed, as if he was looking at a dead man. He said mildly, "Then I wish you a safe journey. Fong Ping has just patrolled Mount Imperial Sea. If you want to find him, you can go to the outer domain and kill some humans." Extermination laughed. "I have heard of Fong Renwang's reputation. Although Fong Renwang is my target, I want to fight the human's longevity sword first. I'm just afraid I'll be disappointed again if I'm not strong enough." The old man smiled and didn't say anything else. He said lightly, "Then you can go on your own." As he said that, he ignored him and landed directly. Longevity, sword. Was he trying to accumulate momentum slowly? That depended on whether Fong Ping agreed to it or not. The 8 monsters were very strong. Among them, 3 were emperor level and 5 were top-tier true gods. The difference between emperor level and saints was not as big as imagined. 8 monsters were probably enough to fight top-tier saints. This person was also very strong. This group of people had combat strength comparable to 2 saints. But so what? He hoped this fellow could return alive. He should pray for him. The saints under Emperor Donghuang's faction were now watching a show. The sky-sealing bloodline. That fellow from back then? The old man seemed to remember something. He was a little fearful and contemptuous. Very strong. Indeed, very strong. Even in that era, when the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors were still around, that fellow was terrifyingly strong. He was known as the leader of the Extreme Path bloodline. It was the Extreme Path bloodline, not the Extermination bloodline. However, some people were worthy of respect. Some people were not. Jean had been apprenticed to many people. So was that person. He was very similar to Jean. However, Jean had his own path and his own integrity. That person was lacking a little. Now, he had formed his own bloodline. Was he going to complete something that had never been done in ancient times? This bloodline is strong enough. How will Fong Ping deal with it? The old man muttered to himself. Perhaps it would be beyond his expectations. Chapter 1172. In May, the world was at peace. The battles at the summit were almost impossible to see. On the human side, their battle prowess was also increasing day by day. Su Yunfei of the Su clan, the son of the Sword King's first wife, was already showing signs of proving his Tao. He had begun his seclusion and was only one step away from officially entering the impasse realm. Among the 6 great holy lands, an old monk from the other 5 great holy lands and the ancient Buddha holy land also walked out of seclusion. On the day he entered the catacombs, the old monk sent someone to pass a message to Fong Ping. After he had achieved enlightenment, he would come to the country to meet the king. It was obvious that the old monk was very confident that he would succeed this time. The nation of gods, the descendant of the sun god, the grandfather of Roses, whom Fong Ping had interacted with before, had also come out of his closed-door training and entered the catacombs. Fong Ping was not too concerned that he did not send a message to Sino Nation. Obviously, this descendant of the sun god had the hope of proving his Tao. Of the leaders of the 6 holy lands, apart from the one from suppressing Star City, the 5 holy lands that had fused with the Tao last time were all the strongest experts. And now, the descendants or disciples of these strongest experts all had the hope of proving their Tao. This was motivation. Their ancestors had fallen, and these people were all holding their breaths. When Fong Ping returned that day, saying that he would reinforce the Sky Cemetery half a year later, all parties responded that there would definitely be exterminated beasts within half a year. Now, many people in China had succeeded in proving their Tao. Tianmu had even entered the fake sky grave and started to participate in the battle. Everyone was getting anxious. The Tao-proving seeds walked out from their cultivation grounds, ready to fight their way to the top. Very few humans would stay in seclusion until they broke through. At the checkpoint, the catacombs was their best option. Just when everyone was silent, Fong Ping had just returned to closed-door training when he was called back by Wu Quishan. Shanghai, Heavenly Island. Now, the Heavenly Island was truly a holy land for cultivation. The sky would have taken root on Sky Island. After the cat tree returned, it had also taken root on Sky Island. In addition, dozens of rank 9 monster plants had taken root on Sky Island. Sky Island had become a sacred place for cultivation. The energy from all directions began to converge towards Heaven Island. Not only that, Fong Ping had also buried a large number of cultivation-aiding energy stones under Sky Island. Upon entering the Heavenly Island, one could even touch the energy with their hands. It had already materialized. Only those who had made great contributions were allowed to enter. On Heavenly Island, Fong Ping had just broken through the air when he saw a familiar figure. Yunxi, Fong Ping shouted. Chun Yunxi, who was in a hurry, turned her head and glanced at him. She smiled. You're back. As soon as Fong Ping finished speaking, Chun Yunxi said hurriedly, then I'll leave first. There's an emergency in the catacombs. After saying that, Chun Yunxi ran away in a hurry. Fong Ping was stunned. What was going on? Am I being abandoned? Just as Zhang Xian was deep in thought, another person appeared. Seeing Fong Ping, Fu Chanding raised his spear and greeted him hurriedly. You're back? You're busy. I'll leave first. Fong Ping was stunned again. This was not the end. People passed by him one after another. In the end, all of them were like fugitives. They ran very fast and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Fong Ping was stunned. I'm back. I rarely come back now, but when you see me, this is how you treat me? I, a sovereign personage, don't have any backing? In the catacombs, in the 3 realms, whoever sees me has to be respectful. You guys just ignore me like this? Fong Ping was still in a daze. On the other side, Lu Fengru hurried past. This time, she did not even greet him. Fong Ping was stunned. Tang Feng, who was following behind her, greeted her, but quickly said, You've offended old Lu. Tang Feng teased. Do you know what the outside world is saying now? Master of King Human, Li Changsheng, Longevity Sword. Lu Fengru. Who's Lu Fengru? Some people even say that Li Changsheng is a martial king. Anyway, it has nothing to do with her. Old Lu provoked him at Mount Royal Sea last time, claiming to be Li Changsheng's teacher. He was mocked for a long time. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. Can you blame me? This teacher of mine, cough. It's true that he has no sense of presence. But you can't blame me either. He seemed to have heard about what happened to Lu Fengru last time. She provoked the other party to fight her one-on-one, saying that she was Fong Ping's teacher. In the end, the catacombs rank 8 said casually, whether it was on purpose or he really did not know. Isn't Fong Ping's teacher the longevity sword? With that one sentence, Lu Fengru let the other party see what it meant to be a crazy woman. In the end, he was beaten to death by Lu Fengru, one punch after another. Fong Ping said innocently, This has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. Didn't she despise herself for being weak? A few days ago, she said that if she's not desperate, she'll pretend that she doesn't know you. Doesn't that mean that she doesn't know you? Fong Ping was speechless. Then he said amusedly, "Then how do you still know me?" Tang Fong sneered. "Why wouldn't I know you? As for those two students of mine, I don't know them now either." He was referring to Zhao Lei and Yang Xiaomei. Both of them were rank 7 martial artists now. However, Fong Ping had improved the strength of MCMEU powerhouses several times. After he proved his Dao, both of them had benefited too. This time they had improved a lot. A few days ago, when the master and disciple were sparring, the two of them had joined forces and accidentally hit Tang Feng's nose crooked. Now, Tang Feng told everyone he met that his students had deceived their masters and destroyed their ancestors. In reality, he was secretly happy. He was just short of telling others that he had a whole bunch of high ranks. His daughter, Tang Wen, had also advanced to rank 7. She was still young. If it were not for the Zhang siblings who were faster, Tang Feng could boast that his daughter was better than Fong Ping. Looking at Tang Feng's joyful expression, Fong Ping could not help but laugh again. He glanced at Tang Feng and laughed. Instructor Tang has improved quite fast too. Your golden body has actually reached rank 8 third refinement. It's just Tang Feng was not too busy. He chuckled and said, "Also, Chen Yunxi and Ji Yao have been dragging it out recently. Both of them have fought more than 20 battles in the Mount Royal Sea region. They just came back to recuperate. They agreed to fight again in the afternoon. That's why they're rushing over." "Huh!" Fong Ping was stunned. She's not Ji Yao's match, right? Ji Yao is already rank 9. Yunxi is only rank 8 third refinement. The gap is not small. Together with your instructor, the two of them fighting against her is about the same. Tang Feng laughed. There are not many female martial artists to begin with. Both sides have their wins and losses. We rarely intervene in their battles now. The catacombs are also training their troops. Fong Ping, the battles now are much more ruthless than before. I'm talking about the catacombs. At this point, Tang Feng still said solemnly, "The situation in the catacombs is not the same as before. We were afraid of death in the past. It's not that we're not afraid of death now, but with the pressure from the higher-ups, plus some powerhouses who are good at fighting from other areas have entered the restricted area, the battles now are fought to the death. I wanted to say something about this. If this goes on, I'm afraid there will be younger generations in the catacombs who will achieve Dao. Some of the descendants of the true king, without the protection of the true king now, are fighting with their lives on the line. That descendant of King Hua, Hua Yu, has also entered rank 9. Facing him, we don't know if we should kill him or what. Our hands and feet are tied when we're fighting," Fong Ping said in a low voice. "There's no friendship to speak of in a war. Kill when you need to. Don't think too much." Tang Feng nodded and said, "There's also Li Zhu's son, Li Yi, who has also advanced to rank 9. He has also begun to participate in some border battles." The former left marshal of the Heavenly Plant's royal court, Hua Qidao, has advanced to rank 9 in a short period of time. I'm afraid there's hope for him to achieve Dao. Hua Qidao, Fong Ping's expression changed slightly. He said quickly, "Hua Qidao is going to achieve Dao." Tang Feng said in a low voice, "That's right. This has been reported to Vice-Chancellor Wu. Vice-Chancellor said that she will arrange for a few people to ambush him. Maybe the Su family's second patriarch will come out and kill Hua Qidao to achieve Dao. I'm afraid Hua Qidao will not avoid the battle. If he defeats old patriarch Su, maybe there's hope for him to achieve Dao." The Su family's second patriarch, Su Yunfei, was already powerful. His previous ranking was much higher than Wu Quishan's. Now, he was only one step away. He was missing a powerhouse among the same rank. Hua Qidao was in the limelight now. Wu Quishan arranged for Su Yunfei to ambush him. Between the two of them, one might emerge as a paragon. As for the other, the probability of death was very high. Fong Ping instantly lost the mood to continue the conversation. He smiled and nodded slightly. The next moment, he said goodbye to Tang Feng and quickly headed for the Heaven Ministry's conference room. In the big conference room, only 3 people were present. Wu Quishan, Old Man Li, and Li Daong. Fong Ping entered. Without waiting for them to speak, he said in a low voice, "Arrange for Su Yunfei to ambush and kill Hua Qidao." Wu Quishan glanced at him. After a while, he said yes. The Su family's second patriarch killed Hua Qidao. The probability of him achieving Dao is very high. Fong Ping frowned and said in a low voice, "You know." "I know," Wu Quishan said in a low voice. "But what can we do? Let Hua Qidao continue to grow? Impossible." It was one thing for Hua Qidao to cause trouble in the depths of the restricted area, but now he is participating in the battle at Imperial Sea Hill. Yesterday, Hua Qidao fought with Grandmaster Fang Yu at Imperial Sea Hill. Fang Yu was no match for him. Hua Qidao had cut off both his arms and destroyed his golden body. If not for Captain Beigong Yan's timely rescue, Grandmaster Fang would have been killed at Imperial Sea Hill. Fong Ping was a veteran grandmaster of the human race. He had guarded the Shishan catacombs for decades. During the battle at the Imperial battlefield, he almost followed in Old Man Fan's footsteps. Old Man Fan died in battle at the Imperial battlefield. I did not get to see the glory of the human race. It is something I have always regretted. It is hard to accept. Now, these high grandmasters guarding the catacombs had finally seen a glimmer of hope. Fong Ping has guarded the catacombs for decades. He faced more than 10 rank 9 powerhouses alone. Which one of them is not worthy of respect? He almost died. If Hua Qidao wants to kill Fang Yu, then I will let Senior Su Yunfei ambush and kill him. Li Diyong's expression was complicated. He said nothing. Old Man Li was also unusually indecisive. He did not say a word. Fong Ping said in a low voice, "You know his situation. If he fights with Senior Su, he will most likely be killed by Senior Su. If Senior Su achieves Dao, he will die." Fong Ping exhaled. "If you don't know, then forget it. Now that you know, so what if you know?" Wu Quishan said calmly, "Leaving him to grow is not what humans should do. The catacomb's intention is to let him advance in battle. He knows that killing Fang Yu will lead to revenge from the humans, but he still did it. This means that this is the catacomb's will. The catacombs clearly know that the humans have arranged for someone to ambush and kill him. They want to raise Gu. If he survives, then he will reach the next pinnacle. If he dies, then so be it. At this time, there are no human powerhouses to join the battle. Fong Ping, do you want to send others to their deaths?" Wu Quishan said coldly. "Ambushing and killing Hua Qidao requires at least a rank 9 powerhouse. Who do you want to send to their deaths?" Fong Ping gritted his teeth. After a while, he said, "Bring him back." "No," Wu Quishan said in a low voice. "Even if he dies in battle, you can't do it now. This is arranged by Minister Zhang. If you bring him back..." Honestly, other than Minister Zhang, do you know his situation? If he has not betrayed us, if he succeeds and achieves the pinnacle, infiltrating the enemy's inner circle, that will be our greatest success. Fong Ping said impatiently, "Do I need it? So, what if he infiltrates the inner circle? At most, he knows some secrets and betrays us at the last minute. If he can ambush and kill an emperor level, that's good enough. Do I lack the opportunity to kill an emperor level?" Wu Quishan said calmly, "Killing an emperor level. When he infiltrated, Minister Zhang's goal was probably just to target some pinnacles. If he can kill an emperor level, that will be the greatest success. Moreover, there are some things that we really need him to do. Then what's the point of killing him now? He might not die. Then if old Su dies, will you take responsibility?" Wu Quishan frowned. "Then what do you think we should do? If they let it go, there would be human rank 9 powerhouses dying in Hua Qidao's hands soon. If they did not let it go, then they would have to fight to the death." Fong Ping thought about it. After a while, he humphed. "Hasn't Zhang Ping advanced to rank 9? You're crazy." Wu Quishan scolded impatiently. Old Man Li could not help but scold. "Then why don't you just bring him back? Zhang Peng has just advanced. If he can fight Hua Qidao, do you believe it? if Hua Qidao hardens his heart and kills him in the name of justice, old Zhang will kill you when he comes back. How dare this guy think? Send his son over. If Zhang Peng really died in Hua Qidao's hands, old Zhang would definitely not let Fang Ping go when he comes back. Fang Ping pondered for a moment. After thinking for a while, he said, "That's true. If old Zhang finds out, he might really cause trouble for me. Forget it. I'll think of a way myself. If it really doesn't work, I'll pretend to be a rank 9 powerhouse and fight him." "That's a good idea." Wu Quishan nodded. Fang Ping could pretend to be a rank 9 powerhouse and fight Hua Qidao. No one would know how strong Fang Ping was if he played dead. Even if he did not play dead, it would not be difficult to defeat Hua Qidao and spare his life. Wu Quishan did not continue this topic. He said quickly, "I didn't ask you to come today to talk about him. There's movement over at the Forbidden Sea." "What movement?" Wu Quishan gestured for him to sit down. He said, "Someone sent a letter of challenge to the humans. He wants to challenge old Li." Wu Quishan glanced at Li Changxing and said quickly, "The opponent's strength is not weak. He's an emperor-level powerhouse. He wants to fight alone." Fang Ping scolded, "F***ck off. Who is it? I'll go and kill him. An emperor-level dares to show off? He even wants to fight alone? How many days has it been since old Li broke through? Are they giving him face?" Wu Quishan said softly, "The other party naturally has some ability to say that. This time, there's news that the other party has quite a lot of people. There are many emperor-level auras. Although they didn't express their attitude, the meaning is clear. If they don't fight alone, the humans will have one more enemy. Not only that, the other party claims to be from the sky-sealing bloodline. He's just the heir of this generation. Behind him, there's at least a saint, or even a heavenly king." Wu Quishan was also a little sullen. He said helplessly, "If we don't fight, we might have one more heavenly king enemy. Now, the humans are no match for a heavenly king, unless that god-forging envoy you mentioned comes out. The other party is plotting openly. We have to fight even if we don't want to." Fang Ping's expression was cold. When has the human race ever been threatened? Who does he think he is? So what if he's a heavenly king? I've seen many heavenly kings. Even if I can't win, I still dare to fight. What bullsh** T sky sealing bloodline? I even dared to kill the descendants of the 9 emperors. Not to mention this bullsh** T I've never heard of. The Forbidden Sea, right? I'll find a time tonight, hide my aura, and go over to ambush and kill him. Heavenly king, would a heavenly king dare to come out now? I'll call a few people and surround and kill him." Fang Ping began to plan. Heavenly king, he did not know what level of heavenly king he was. 5 saints had hope of defeating a heavenly king with a broken 6. If they wanted to kill him, they might need a little more. Jiang Hao, Heavenly Wood, Yu Wei, Feng Yun, and Lin Hai, Cosmic Dragon, and Kaidai would try. There should be hope for 8 saint powerhouses to kill a heavenly king with a broken 6. "Don't be impulsive," Wu Quishan said helplessly. "Are you ignoring the 9 saints of the catacombs? At this stage, if there's a conflict with the other party, if the catacombs suddenly attack, have you considered the consequences?" Fang Ping said coldly, "I've considered it. However, we can't make an exception. This is just like the catacombs back then. They use 3 to 5 times their powerhouses to fight our human powerhouses. You have to fight whether you want to or not. If you compromise today, old man Li will not be a match and will be killed on the spot. Tomorrow, someone will dare to fight you alone. You will not be a match and will be killed again. It will be like cutting flesh with a blunt knife. I've finally made the human race stand up, but they'll have to kneel again immediately. There's only one way to deal with this kind of person. Kill. No matter how big the loss, we must kill him. At this time, we can only fight fiercely, not compromise, not admit defeat, and not bow our heads. Even if we die in battle, we must fight him. I know. Wu Quishan sighed. If it's that simple, then I won't look for you. Old Li won't have the idea to keep the appointment. Wu Quishan thought for a while and said, the Fengtian clan might be a little complicated. Extreme Path Divine Island's Lin Hai. Saint rarely takes the initiative to contact us. Today, he sent someone to send a message. This is a little troublesome. Lin Hai Saint? That's right. Wu Quishan exhaled softly. It's Lin Hai Saint. He said that the Fengtian clan and the Extreme Path Divine Island have a close relationship. It's very complicated. I'm afraid he won't fight side by side with the human race. If the human race really wants to, they don't have to look for him. Also, let me tell you, it's best to give up the idea of ambushing and killing the Fengtian clan successor. If that person is still around, ambushing and killing him might be the human race's own destruction. Fang Ping's expression was gloomy. Lin Hai would not deliberately scare him. He had said before that he would only help the human race once. That time, he had also spared no effort to participate in the battle. The successor of the Extreme Path Divine Island would not be timid. He also knew the situation on Fang Ping's side. He knew that Fang Ping might be able to rope in many saints, but he still said this. Even the God Creation Envoy was ignored. What was this? What was going on with the Fengtian clan that suddenly appeared? Many emperor ranks had suddenly appeared. Emperor ranks and saints. There was not much difference between top-level emperor ranks and saints. It was extremely difficult for a saint to kill an emperor rank. That day, Moon Spirit was about to advance to Heavenly King. She was even carrying a divine weapon. She killed the emperor rank Nameless Emperor by surprise. It took her a lot of effort to kill him. The other party had easily sent out many emperor rank powerhouses. This power was not weak. Beside him, Old Manly said, Fang Ping, let me keep the appointment and fight him. Although I'm not an emperor rank, it's not that easy for an emperor rank to kill me. Fang Ping said impatiently. What do you know? If they can't kill you, the other party will surround and kill you. After the siege, say that they are powerful. If you are killed, so be it. But if you kill the other party, Old Antique might come out and say that you dare to kill my descendant. He will kill you. I know these old turtles' personalities too well. It's fine to kill others, but not their people. After beating up the little ones, the old ones will arrive immediately. These people are not even comparable to the catacombs martial artists. Although the catacombs are overbearing, at least they still follow some rules. These people are used to being the only one. So in the end, either you die and the humans don't pursue it, or the old antique must come out. It's because I know their personalities that I won't compromise. One-on-one battle, one-on-one? What nonsense. Fang Ping calculated for a while and said, I'll go and ask about the situation. If he's too powerful, I'll go and bluff him for a while and see if I can bluff him. If he's weak, if he only has the strength of Broken Six, I'll think of a way to kill him. I'll see what happens. If his hostility is really deep, I'll think of another way. Having said that, Fang Ping knocked on the table. Let's see if we can divert the trouble. This newly emerged Fengtian clan is very overbearing. If they dare to say such things, they're either confident or insolent. I have experience in dealing with this kind of people. Fang Ping still had a way of dealing with these fellows who had strong backings. Having said that, Fang Ping asked, Is there anything else? He added, Wait for my news. Don't act on your own. I'm warning you. You must inform me of your actions at the summit. If you act on your own and die, I'll expel you and put you on the list of human traitors. Wu Quishan and Old Manly smiled helplessly and did not say much. Li Daong continued, There's something else. Nowadays, there aren't as many battles in the southern region as before. Minister Wu and I intend to let some people settle in the other 3 major territories and help the humans in other regions to fight. Sure. Fang Ping nodded. This time, he patrolled the 4 major territories. Indeed, the southern region had the fewest battles. They were afraid of being killed. The powerhouses in the southern region had almost all been killed by Fang Ping. The remaining people had also escaped to the restricted zone. The other 3 major territories did not lose much. Right now, they still had the absolute advantage. The humans could only defend. They rarely attacked and could easily be surrounded and killed. Seeing him nod, Wu Quishan heaved a sigh of relief. Now you have the magnanimity of a human king. I thought you would refuse. Fong Ping was speechless. How could I? On the day the six sacred lands leaders merged, I knew that if there were any internal strife among the humans would really lose. Right now, we can kill until everyone is terrified because we're working together. Otherwise, we would have been defeated long ago. Wu Quishan laughed. Soon, he became serious again. This time, be careful. Don't act rashly. Minister Zhang and the rest haven't returned yet. If we really provoke the Heavenly King at this time, we'll be in big trouble. Fong Ping nodded. He knew about this too. He did not say anything else. Soon, Fong Ping tore the void and left the place. As soon as he left, Old Man Li said in a low voice, "It's better to be prepared. I'm going to closed-door cultivation these 2 days. The other party is coming aggressively. If he dares to ask me to fight alone, he must be confident." Wu Quishan nodded and sighed. Fong Ping's personality is very firm. This is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. He's impulsive. Humans don't have to compromise, but sometimes we have no choice. At this stage, if we really provoke the Heavenly King and join forces with the catacombs, how many saints do you think will help us? Try your best to preserve your life. You and I are older than him. Sometimes we have to think more. He can be strong to the end. We can't. The human king can't be defeated. We can. Do you understand? Old Man Li nodded and said lightly, "If I really can't refuse, then I'll fight alone. I'll find a place with no one. Fight him. If I die in battle, say that I acted on my own. Don't be too anxious. Wait until Fong Ping has news. I don't know if that God-forging envoy can make a move this time." "I know." As the two of them talked, Li Daong sighed. Just as he finished sighing, Wu Quishan suddenly slapped him, causing him to stagger. Li Daong was stunned. Wu Quishan scolded, "What are you sighing for? Get lost. Old Li is a rank 6. You're a rank 9. He's an absolute rank 9. You're a rank 9. You're a rank 9. Fong Ping hasn't even practiced martial arts yet. The veteran rank 9 is already considered a direct disciple of Commander Li. Minister Zhang's grandson is already a rank 9. You're not even as good as his grandson. No, you're not even as good as the War King's many generations of grandchildren. Zhang Hao is already a rank 9. I heard that Zhang Chao, that guy who's just eating and waiting to die, has already reached rank 8 third refinement. What about you? And you're still the military department's acting minister. Wake up. We're discussing something important. You, a rank 9 for many years, is still sighing. You're sulking just by looking at it." Li Daong almost died of anger. "Can you blame me for this? You guys are too perverted. I haven't been a rank 9 for many years, right? 10 years, that's already very powerful, okay? You have to compare me with perverts. You still have Asterisk King hit me. Am I shameless?" Li Daong looked around. Fortunately, no one saw it. Otherwise, he would fight it out with Wu Quishan today. "When I was a rank 9, you were only a rank 7. Forget it. Let's not talk about it. It hurts." Li Daong was also helpless. He was Li Zhen's direct disciple. Old Zhang's half-student, Kong Lingyuan, had advanced to Paragon. Old Zhang's grandson had advanced to rank 9. His son, this time there was also hope to advance to Paragon. In comparison, Li Zhen's line seemed to have no successor. Li Zhen's grandson, Li Yiming, on the other hand, had made rapid progress in the past 2 years. However, he still had not advanced to rank 9. Li Daong was helpless. He felt wronged. "You have to compare me with a bunch of perverts. What can I do?" Wu Quishan vented his anger on him. His mood was much better. Only then did he say, "Why are you still standing there? Hua Qidao, you go first. You won't be killed so easily. Try not to fight them head-on. Hold on for now. We'll talk about it when Fong Ping has time." Li Daong said helplessly, "I am also the military department's top leader." Wu Quishan glanced at him and ignored him directly. "If you haven't reached Paragon, then hurry up and scram. Stop talking nonsense." Li Daong was even more helpless. MCMU was in power now. They were very arrogant now. Commander Li was not doing well. "You've achieved, Heavenly King. We should also bask in your glory." At the same time, Fong Ping once again entered the small world of suppressing Star City. The God Creation Envoy was a little impatient. This kid knew about this place. He would come every 2 or 3 days. How annoying. Did he really think of himself as a zoo? Coming to visit every day. Chapter 1173. What are you doing here again? The God creation envoy's expression was not good. Recently, Fong Ping had come a few times, and he did not even have time to read. Fong Ping was all smiles. He did not say a word. He took out a table and a bench, as well as a jar of good wine. Seeing this scene, the corner of the God creation envoy's mouth twitched. He had some understanding of Fong Ping. Not a good person. Now that he had come up to offer benefits, was he trying to do something bad? Kid, leave now, hurry up. Fong Ping chuckled. Senior, it's too lonely to be here alone. Now that Heavenly King Suppression isn't here, I have the responsibility to take care of you. This is just a small token of my appreciation. I'll accompany you for a drink. Senior, why do you have to keep me at a distance? The God creation envoy's expression was unfriendly. He did not care about him anymore and started to drink. Fong Ping smiled and sat down opposite him. He smiled and said, Senior, I have a question. The God creation envoy's face turned pitch black. I knew it. I'm just asking a few questions. Senior, you've gotten quite a bit of meat, haven't you? Fong Ping grinned. Senior, did the wine taste good? The God forging envoy was tired and said indifferently, If you have any questions, ask. Don't come again. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Fong Ping smiled. Senior, do you know about the Fontian clan? What the hell? The heavens sealing bloodline. Fong Ping repeated his words. The God creation envoy frowned slightly, thought for a moment, and said, Which heavens sealing bloodline? Wait. As he spoke, the God creation envoy seemed to have thought of something. After a long while, he said, The one with the strongest spiritual force? The guy who self-destructed his inheritance? Fong Ping raised his eyebrows. I'm not too sure about this, but St. Lin Hai said that it's related to the polar path. That's probably him. The God-forging envoy looked at Fong Ping and frowned. Did you offend him? Maybe. What do you mean by maybe? Fong Ping chuckled. I haven't offended him yet, but I think I might be able to in a few days. For example, if we kill his successor, Senior, don't you think we'll be offending him? The God creation envoy was speechless, and his tone became a little more solemn as he said, That guy. Try your best not to offend him. How should I put it? I don't like this guy, but that doesn't stop him from being strong. This time, Fong Ping really took it seriously. The God creation envoy's tone was very arrogant. No one liked it. But now, he actually said that the other party was strong. Fong Ping's expression changed. He said in a low voice, Senior, can you tell me more about this lineage? Otherwise, I might really have to clash with the other party. The God-crafting envoy also knew Fong Ping's personality. He picked up the wine jar, took a sip, and said slowly, In the ancient times, some people stood out and became the big winners in the Battle of the Great Tao, but some people were a step too late. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors were the big winners. Of course, the war would come later, and they would rise later. At that time, there were actually a few people who were in a similar situation as Jean, such as the Divine Weapon Master, the Palm Seal User. Before the rise of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, these people were also the proud sons of heaven. When the God creation envoy talked about these people, he also sighed and quickly said, Similarly, there was a group of people in that era who were also very outstanding. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors of ancient times all had single names. You know that, and this person calls himself the Celestial Emperor. Fong Ping's expression changed again. Celestial Emperor? Many emperor-level powerhouses called themselves Celestial Emperors, but their titles were usually not a single title, or rather, they were almost never a single title. Only the 4 emperors were. Of course, the Heavenly Dog was different. This guy was special. Celestial Emperor. Fong Ping was really a little surprised, but the God creation envoy continued. Of course, it's just that he calls himself. The outside world generally calls him Celestial Emperor. Huh? Fong Ping said in surprise. Celestial Emperor? He was a Celestial Emperor in ancient times? Of course. The God creation envoy said lightly. When the 8 kings were conferred, King Qian was actually arranged for him, but this guy was unwilling. He felt that he was not comparable to the 8 kings, so he asked the heavenly court to confer him the title of Divine Weapon Master. In the end, of course, no one was willing. The Divine Weapon Master back then was also a powerhouse. How could he give up his position to him? This guy saw that there was no way to seize the position of Divine Weapon Master, so he did not enter the heavenly court, and he was free and unfettered. As he said that, he continued, his background is a little complicated. I've said it before, it's a little similar to Jean. He's actually also a figure in the early martial arts era, but later he learned from the 4 emperors and wanted to walk the path of the 4 emperors. The 4 emperors and he were actually considered figures of the same era, and John might not be as old as him. However, in the cultivation world back then, the atmosphere was not bad. He was also a powerhouse and volunteered to join the sect. When he came to ask for advice, the 4 emperors did not reject him. This person is extremely powerful, and the other 3 emperors do not teach much. Mie is good at teaching, so he mainly learned mentality from Mie. His strongest is the Seal Dao. Fong Ping listened carefully and hurriedly said, Seal? That's right. The God Creation Envoy said in a low voice, Seal the Origin Great Dao. He had experienced the Great War back then and knew the power of the Origin Great Dao. He also knew that without the Origin Great Dao, the 9 emperors and 4 emperors might not be a match for those beginner powerhouses. Therefore, he wanted to open up another path and focus on the Seal Dao. When fighting the Seal Powerhouse's Dao, as he said that, he added, don't think that he only has strong mentality. This person learned from the 4 emperors, so naturally, he has also learned the path of the Batian Emperor's flesh. His flesh is also extremely strong. Once he seals his opponent, his own origin is still there, and the gap is terrifying. Although I don't think much of him, I have to say that among the 8 kings back then, if they fought with him, I'm afraid none of them could defeat him. Fong Ping was shocked. So strong? Back then, he had probably broken through 7. What about now? Why didn't he enter the fake sky tomb? The God Creation Envoy said lightly. Didn't I not enter either? What's so strange about that? You set up a trap, and others have to enter it? This person's mentality is so strong that he can even predict the future. His sense of danger and opportunity is also quite strong. I'm afraid he didn't sense the big opportunity that day, so it's not strange that he didn't enter. At this point, the God Creation Envoy continued. He can be considered the chief of the extreme Dao lineage. Of course, the 4 emperors treated him back then. How should I put it? It was more of a peer exchange, and they didn't claim that he was their disciple. Fong Ping exhaled. He had poked a hornet's nest. What a big problem. The 4 emperors of the extreme Dao were actually communicating with their peers. This person's strength was somewhat beyond Fong Ping's expectations. Fong Ping could not help but ask, then why did he ask his disciples to come out of the mountain now? Fong Ping gritted his teeth and said, he asked his disciples to come out of the mountain to challenge the longevity sword. A powerhouse with the strength of an emperor was shameless enough to challenge the longevity sword who had just broken through not long ago. Is this lineage so shameless? Shame? The God Creation Envoy sneered. What shame does he want? If he wanted shame, he wouldn't have admitted that he was the disciple of the 4 emperors back then. Don't you think about it? The powerhouses of that era, even if they were not as good as the 4 emperors, would still come to ask for advice. They would never admit that they were disciples. This old man has also asked the 9 emperors and 4 emperors for guidance, but I will not admit that I am the disciple of the 9 emperors and 4 emperors. This person is very shameless. Admitting himself as a disciple is just adding gold to his face. If he encounters trouble, he can ask the 4 emperors for help. He is very powerful. Back then, there were not many heavenly kings who could suppress him. The rest were like the 9 emperors. He knew better than anyone that if he provoked these people, he would be powerless to resist. He was just pulling the skin of the 4 emperors. Do you think this old man will look up to such a person? Fong Ping frowned and said, he actually didn't die. He didn't die. It's not too strange. The God creation envoy shook his head and said, "This guy is very slippery. Back then, when Johnsian fell, he probably ran away. It's not surprising that he didn't die." After saying that, he asked, "His disciples came out of the mountain?" "Yes." Fong Ping explained the matter briefly. The God creation envoy sneered and said, "This again. Back then, this guy liked to do this. He believed in destiny. He would cheat, steal, and do everything. He worshipped the four emperors because he wanted to get some of the four emperors' glory. Now, I'm afraid he has his eyes on you. He probably has his eyes on all the heroes of this generation and has been paying attention to them. This guy has a big heart. Now that you mention it, I remember previously Li Xuanxia said that something was not right. It seemed that there was someone hiding in the dark. It's probably this guy. During the chaotic period, the chaotic heavenly king was attacked and killed. I'm afraid it was also done by him. If it wasn't done by him, then it was done by his disciples. Later on, the chaotic heavenly king rose and killed many strong enemies. I'm afraid he also suffered heavy losses. In the battle that destroyed the Earth Emperor Divine Dynasty, there were also some powerhouses who participated, and there might not be many of his disciples. In the battle between the North and the South, there was also a mastermind in the dark. Li Xuanxia always said that it was King Kuan and Hong Yu who did it. I don't think so. If this guy is alive, can he not interfere? Fong Ping said with a heavy expression, "Senior, what is his strength now?" "I'm not sure about that." The God crafting envoy thought for a moment and said after a moment, "Maybe break 7, maybe break 8. The probability of breaking 8 is not too high, because the requirements for breaking 8 are very high. In fact, breaking 8 is often done on one's own. This guy, it's hard to say. But since he survived until now, even if it's breaking 7, he's still a top-notch powerhouse among breaking 7. Kid, you're really in big trouble. Not only you, but also Zhang Tao and some of the geniuses of this era. They're all in big trouble." Fong Ping's expression became uglier and uglier. At the very least, he was a powerhouse who had broken 7. This was too strong. "Then why didn't he attack us now?" The heavenly king sneered and said, "Don't worry, he won't attack now. Let's put it this way. His disciples came out of the mountain to test the waters first. Kill you. Kill you. You are not geniuses. You are trash. It doesn't matter if he can't kill you. He might not make a move. The disciples who are making a move now are probably not the strongest. He will send people to challenge you one after another, kill you, and gather his so-called luck. He wants to gather all his luck on one person. When the other party is strong enough, he will kill the other party. He feels that he can successfully prove his Tao this way. That disciple of his killed the longevity sword, and then killed you. I'm afraid he will die in his hands in the end. This person is like this. If your strength is too weak, he will not make a move personally. According to your understanding, it's like raising a goo worm. When the strongest goo worm is raised, he will personally kill the strongest one. Do you understand?" Fong Ping's brows suddenly relaxed, and he said with a smile, "Senior, what you mean is that even if I make a move now and kill his disciples, he might not make a move, right?" "That's right," the God-crafting envoy said with a smile. "However, you have to be careful. This guy's disciples who have come out of the mountain now all have the strength of an emperor rank. I'm afraid there are even stronger ones behind. You have to understand, he is an old man from the beginning of martial arts. Some of his disciples, if they're not dead, they're actually not much different from the disciples of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. Moreover, the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors have disappeared for many years, but he did not. In that case, it is not surprising that he has a saint-rank powerhouse under him. Even a heavenly king?" Fong Ping frowned and said, "Heavenly king? Is it that exaggerated?" "It's not too exaggerated. In recent years, there have been many people who have proven their Tao as heavenly kings. Moon Spirit, chaotic heavenly king, unquestionable sword, celestial pole. These people have all proven their Tao as heavenly kings in the past 8,000 years. The God-crafting envoy thought for a while and shook his head. "Some of his disciples. It's hard to say. Maybe there is. If they keep a low profile and don't shine when they break through, they might not be discovered. So, if I kill this guy now, a saint might appear immediately. If a saint dies, a heavenly king might appear? Fong Ping said with a smile. This seems nothing. The god crafting envoy sneered. You overestimate him. Do you really think he will give you food? His disciples can die, but they can't die. They can't be killed by someone above their rank. You have the combat strength of a saint. If you dare to kill his emperor-rank disciples, a heavenly king will come to kill you tomorrow. If it is not him, it will be his disciples. This is his style. If you only have the ultimate combat strength, he will not show up when you kill the emperor-rank disciples under his wing. If you kill a saint with your emperor-rank combat strength, he will not show up. In other words, you can defeat the strong with the weak, but you can't defeat the weak with the strong. Domineering and shameless. Fong Ping sneered. I'm only at the peak. If you didn't kill a saint, then there's no problem. If you killed a saint, do you think he will care if you're at the peak or not? Fong Ping's face darkened. Does that mean I can't make a move? Once I make a move, he might attack me? Maybe. Senior. Fong Ping suddenly smiled like a flower and looked at the god crafting envoy. The god crafting envoy seemed to know what he was going to do and said lazily, Don't count on me. If I'm not trapped, then I'm not afraid of that guy. So what if he is strong? But I am a prisoner now. Kid, don't cause trouble for me. Since he dared to let his disciples come, and he also knows some things, he might not be unaware of what happened to me previously. Since that's the case, he might still want to lure me out. Back then, this guy asked me to forge a divine weapon for him, but I ignored him. Now, I'm afraid he is extremely confident. He found me and forced me to do something, which is probably what he wants to see. Fong Ping, don't think about bringing trouble to me. If you bring it to me, if you really bring it, Earth will be destroyed. Once I fight with him, I will not deliberately choose a place. Earth will definitely be destroyed. Fong Ping frowned again and said in a low voice, This junior did not think that way. This junior was just thinking about a question. Since this person came from the extreme Tao sect, does he not care about the relationship between the extreme Tao Heavenly Emperor at all? Don't think about those unrealistic things. The god crafting envoy sneered and said, Extreme Tao sect? What kind of extreme Tao sect is he? You told Wang Jinyang and the others to be careful. Right now, they were not strong enough, so he might not take a liking to them. Once they were strong enough, the first one to kill the extreme Tao Heavenly Emperor would probably be him. Replace him. Gathering the destiny of the four emperors was probably his biggest goal. What do you think? This person is very ambitious, but I just don't like him. No matter if a martial artist is good or bad, a powerhouse has some aspects that are worthy of admiration. I'm afraid he doesn't. If that's the case, didn't the four emperors know? So what if I know? The god crafting envoy said indifferently. Don't tell me you want to kill him if you know. Back then, when he was under the four emperors, he also contributed to the four emperors. Such a powerhouse did not betray him. What right do you have to kill him? Just because his character is not good? Then what do you think the four emperors are? Break 7 strength. Fong Ping frowned. It might even be a break 8. The Fengtian bloodline that appeared was really strong. So strong that it was beyond Fong Ping's expectations. The god crafting envoy thought for a while and suddenly said, Go find unquestionable sword. Fengtian bloodline. Fengtian bloodline. The god crafting envoy seemed to have thought of something. Unquestionable sword, this guy. I suspect that the person who schemed against him was from the Fengtian bloodline. Fong Ping raised his eyebrows. The god crafting envoy laughed and said, Unquestionable sword. How should I put it? He lacks a lot of things, but that doesn't mean he has no bottom line. When he rose, there were many speculations. Some people said that he directed and acted himself, killed his wife, and deceived the cat. That might not be what he did. He did not think too much about it before, but now that he thought about it, this method was somewhat similar to the Fengtian bloodline's method. Replace? What a good replacement. Not only unquestionable sword. At this moment, the god crafting envoy said playfully, Interesting, I even suspect that Hong Yu is also related to him. Hong Yu replaced, Replace the earthly emperor's avatar. Unquestionable sword replaced by Beihai. These two people also have some connections, plus some other things. Maybe they were all sealed. Fong Ping was a little shocked. And Li Zhu, the god-crafting envoy, raised his eyebrows and said, Li Zhu should have completely destroyed the Palm Seal envoy. I don't know if Li Zhu is his chess piece or the Palm Seal envoy. If Li Zhu is, then this guy's plan all these years is a little scary. If the weapon master is, then it means that his plan in Li Zhu has failed. Li Zhu destroyed the Palm Seal envoy. That's right. The god-crafting envoy nodded and said, back then, there was a big star that dimmed. It should be the Palm Seal envoy. This guy is not a good guy. The Palm Seal envoy's personality is not much different from Fong. These two guys colluding together, it is still possible for them to replace the leading role of an era. But obviously, they should have failed. According to my guess, Li Zhu is the winner, not Feng's chess piece. As for unquestionable sword, he can be considered half a loser. At this point, the old man muttered to himself, chuckling, and said, in the end, he is just a goo that someone else raised. He got rid of his previous life. Maybe he also noticed something. Others used him, and he also wanted to follow suit, wanting to replace the position of the king of man in this life. Unquestionable sword is still at a disadvantage. But if you tell him about the Feng Tian bloodline, he might understand something. Feng is very cautious, but also very arrogant. Unquestionable sword's combat strength is still not weak. If he knows about this, maybe he will fight that guy to the death. Fong Ping was speechless. I don't really care about this. I'm more concerned about what I should do now. According to Senior, I can't kill that guy's disciple, but his disciple wants to challenge Teacher Li. Am I supposed to watch Teacher Li throw away his life? The god-crafting envoy said casually. Then let Li Chongqing try. If it doesn't work, you can do it yourself and kill the other party. At most, a heavenly king will come. You can get the martial king and the others out. Won't there be no problem? As he said that, he added, or you can enter the fake sky tomb yourself and let him chase after you. Fong Ping smiled and said, that's true, but if Senior says so, then when that time comes, Earth will be handed over to Senior. Senior, how about you help me guard Earth? The god-crafting envoy snorted coldly. Don't even think about it. Senior, when that time comes, I have no other choice. You can't just watch Earth be destroyed, right? That's also good. I can just escape. Senior, cut the crap. The god-crafting envoy said impatiently. Solve the trouble you caused yourself. Also, Feng has already appeared. The situation might be even more tense. Brat, you better prepare to open the fake sky tomb. Feng could be considered a typical figure of that era. Once he appeared, others would also move upon hearing the news. Old fellows like me might not be able to sit still anymore. They will all appear. Fong Ping said in a deep voice. Are there many powerhouses like Senior? Not really, the god-crafting envoy said indifferently. However, there were still a few beginner leaders back then. They were extremely powerful. If they did not die in that battle, they should be alive now. These people might have fought with the Emperor when they were young. They are all very terrifying. After saying so much, the god-crafting envoy finally reminded him. The bloodline that is sealed is the origin of a person. Your mentality is not as good as his, so there is a high chance that he will seal the origin of the Great Tao. Without the amplification of the origin of the Great Tao, you might not be able to defeat the Emperor under his wing. Fong Ping raised his eyebrows and did not say anything. Seeing this, the god-crafting envoy sneered and said, do you think your mentality is very strong? Or do you think he can't seal you? Don't be too confident. I said that the people of this bloodline are very annoying, but I have to admit that they are powerful. His disciples are easier to deal with. Seal? The inheritance is not only about mentality, but also the physical body, vitality, energy. He is very strong. Feng is probably harder to deal with than Hong Kuan. You can imagine. Are you a match for him? Fong Ping nodded slightly and stood up to leave. After thinking for a while, he turned around and asked, can the Heavenly King defeat him? There should be hope. The Heavenly King is so powerful. Feng is waiting for the right time. What is the heavenly king waiting for? Go ask him yourself. Has Senior broken 8? Guess. I don't want to guess, but Senior is very confident. I think maybe it is also broken 8. Fong Ping said self-deprecatingly, a group of old antiques. They are so powerful, and each of them can really endure it. If it were me, I would have gone on a killing spree. The god-crafting envoy sneered and said, killing spree? The target of public criticism. Stupid. Do you think Li Xuanxie and the others had to hold it in? The key was, did they dare to expose their full strength? Today, he had exposed his full strength. Tomorrow, many powerhouses might join forces to ambush and kill him. It was only now that he was about to come out and could not hold it in any longer. In the past, if a heavenly king dared to appear, he would be killed in a few days. The chaos of the chaotic era was strong enough, right? In the end, he still escaped from the heavenly tomb and avoided everything. Otherwise, he might have been killed too. It's not a problem to be outstanding. If you are too outstanding, you will threaten some people. If you don't die, who will die? Fong Ping did not say anything and left quickly. As soon as he left, the god-crafting envoy sighed and said, "This is a chaotic era, but it is also a good era for you to rise." Otherwise, if it was any other time, did Fong Ping really think that no one could do anything to him? He would have been killed long ago. Chapter 1174. On the Forbidden Sea. Annihilation was still waiting for longevity, Sword's reply. Earth. Fong Ping came to the House of Guardians once again. Like the God Creation envoy, Jiang Hao was not in a good mood when he saw Fong Ping. It was like choking on food or drinking water. It was uncomfortable. When Fong Ping came, he had a hunch that nothing good would come out of it. This time, Fong Ping did not beat around the bush. He went straight to the point and said as soon as he entered, "When you replaced Gong Zhuanzi back then, was it your own plan or was it secretly led by someone else?" Jiang Hao frowned. "Just say it," Fong Ping said calmly. "How many years has it been? Don't you dare to mention this? I want to avoid it. I want to snatch old Zhang's position. I want to snatch it myself. What's wrong with that? What lead or supporting role? If you want to fight, fight. I'm just asking, how much do you know?" Jiang Hao stared at him. Fong Ping said impatiently, "You have the strength of a heavenly king after all. Don't you dare to admit this? Just say it. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you." Jiang Hao exhaled and said coldly, "Fong Ping, there are some things I don't have to tell you." Fong Ping humphed. "Fine, I don't care. Your wife was schemed to death. You've always been a pitiful pawn. People like you can only torture themselves and vent perversely." Jiang Hao's expression was cold. He stared at Fong Ping for a while. After a long time, he said slowly, "What do you want to ask? What do you want to know? Who was the one who ordered me to get close to the cat back then?" Jiang Hao closed his eyes. After a while, he said coldly, "No one ordered me. That was just an accident. Gong Yuzi ordered unquestionable Jian to deliver a letter to Kuokang Mountain and coincidentally met the cat. You know what the cat likes. Is that an accident?" Jiang Hao's gaze changed. He paused and said in a low voice, "Unquestionable Jian doesn't know what the cat likes. He's just doing what he wants." He also raised a cat monster on Purple Cat Mountain. It's very weak, but very cute. That monster was given to him by his master. Unquestionable Jian has been raising it for many years. The moment he met the cat, he seemed to see the monster he raised. He just played with the cat for a while. "You have a cat monster?" "Unquestionable Jian. Don't give me that. You have a cat, so on Purple Cat Mountain, your master will subtly influence you and tell you that cats like to eat fish, like to fish and should be pampered. Is that right?" Jiang Hao closed his eyes. After an unknown period of time, he opened his eyes and said, "Yes." "So, Gong Yuzi already knew that you would meet Song Mao one day, right?" "Yes," Jiang Hao said in a deep voice. In the beginning, Unquestionable Jian did not know. Later on, he had some guesses. "So, Gong Yuzi is the one who planned this. And there's actually someone behind it, right?" Jiang Hao remained silent. I guess that it had something to do with Hong Yu. You said that Hong Yu taught you sword principles. Is that true? Jiang Hao fell silent again. Fong Ping said impatiently, "If you can say it, then say it. If you can't say it, then say it. If you can't say it, then say it. If you keep silent again and again, do I have time to waste with you?" Jiang Hao had an unfriendly expression on his face. "You're the one asking questions, but you're complaining that I'm too slow." "It's true," Jiang Hao said coldly. When he was young, unquestionable Jin met Hong Yu. Of course, he did not know Hong Yu at that time. Nonsense. Hong Yu died during the war of the earthly Emperor God dynasty, Jiang Hao said angrily. At that time, the earthly Emperor God dynasty was not destroyed yet. I'm already talking about when he was young. When unquestionable Jin was born, the earthly Emperor God dynasty was not completely destroyed yet. It was just a little unstable. At that time, the powerhouses of the Blessed Grotto Heavens started planning to build the 108 Blessed Grotto Heavens. Because of this, they did not participate in the war of the earthly Emperor God dynasty. Therefore, the Blessed Grotto Heavens and the earthly Emperor God dynasty actually overlapped for a period of time. Do you understand? Fong Ping thought about it and smiled. I understand more or less. When you were young, you met Hong Yu, and he invested in you. Jiang Hao did not correct him. If he said unquestionable Jian, then so be it. At this moment, Jiang Hao said in a low voice, I don't know. At that time, it was also a coincidence that unquestionable Jian revealed some of his talents among the younger generation and met Hong Yu. Of course, he did not know him at that time. Hong Yu taught him swordsmanship, which later became the sky-punishing sword art. Unquestionable Jin's rise to power has a lot to do with this. Otherwise, Purple Cap Mountain is just an ordinary grotto heavens after all. It's not very powerful. How could it have nurtured unquestionable Jin? Fong Ping nodded and smiled. What happened after that? After that? Jiang Hao frowned. After the earthly Emperor God dynasty was destroyed, I never saw Hong Yu again. Why did Hong Yu teach you cultivation methods? How would I know? Jiang Hao was a little unhappy. Fong Ping smiled. Isn't the person behind your master Hong Yu? No, Jiang Hao said coldly. After that, unquestionable Jin came back from the celestial cemetery and asked his master. Gong Yuzi said he did not know Hong Yu. I believe what he said is true. He really did not know Hong Yu. However, Hong Yu's teaching of swordsmanship might be related to the person behind Gong Yuzi. Fong Ping understood now. If that's the case, understand now. A guy called Fong is the mastermind behind your master. He's actually also Hong Yu's investor. He wanted Hong Yu to teach you swordsmanship so that your master could create an opportunity for you to get close to Tsang Mao. This guy is the real mastermind. Hong Yu might be his chess piece too. Of course, I can't be sure about this. Anyway, you're definitely his chess piece. And Hong Yu can only be considered an executor. Jiang Hao stared at Fong Ping deeply. After a while, he said, Fong, have you heard of him? Jiang Hao fell into silence again. His gaze kept changing. After about half a minute, he said in a low voice, I've heard of him. An ancient powerhouse, a disciple of the extreme Tao. He called himself Emperor Fong. Some people said that he was one step behind back then. If he did not become the disciple of the four emperors, he might have been able to walk his own path. However, he was not confident enough, or rather, he was too confident. He insisted on becoming the disciple of the four emperors. Instead, he lost his own path and became the failure of that era. He wanted to gather the Tao of the four emperors. He never thought that if it were that easy, the four emperors would have proven their path and become the strongest emperor long ago. You actually know, Fong Ping chuckled. That makes things easier. If I say that he's the mastermind behind you, would you believe me? Jiang Hao fell into silence. Fong Ping chuckled. He's out of the mountain. The Sky Sealing clan wants to challenge the longevity sword. The emperor rank is challenging the longevity sword. This clan is not a good thing. Have you ever thought of revenge? Jiang Hao said coldly. You want me to be the blade? Yes. Fong Ping said bluntly. I want you to be the blade. What about it? Do you dare to take revenge? Since you said that you were schemed against, now that I tell you who schemed against you, you don't even have the guts to take revenge? You don't have to provoke me. So what if I provoke you? Fong Ping sneered. Who dares to scheme against me? Even if I can't win, I'll still kill him. If I can't kill him, I'll bite a piece of him. You're a heavenly king powerhouse. Do you feel aggrieved living like a grandson? Jiang Hao bellowed. Do you think you can stand alone? In this three realms, who doesn't live under a conspiracy? Who is not a pawn of others? Do you think you're not? Do you think King Wu isn't? Not only are you a pawn, but you are also a pawn of many people. Did the martial king not scheme against you? Even the heavenly king, subduing king, didn't have one? The Azure Cat, the god creation envoy, including the four extreme emperors. Do you really think that no one cares about you and no one schemed against you? What right do you have to mock me? Fong Ping's voice was even louder than his. He scolded angrily, I know, but so what? At least they wouldn't dare to let me, Fong Ping, stain my hands with the blood of my family. At least they wouldn't dare to force me to do something I don't want to do. My parents are alive and well, and my sister is living a carefree life in Shanghai. Who would dare to provoke them? Yunshi was captured. I annihilated the Luo Fu line. Old Man Li was injured. I annihilated Skygate City. Vice-Chancellor Huang died in battle, and I directly annihilated the Magic City catacombs. Due to old Zhang's carelessness, MCMU fell into a predicament, causing Huang Jing to die in battle. After I lost my temper, he died in the battle outside, proving to me that he did not do it on purpose. Why? Because Fong Ping was tougher than you, not as cowardly as you. If I was a little more cowardly, maybe this situation wouldn't be like this. Maybe I would have become someone else's executioner long ago, but not now. I'm the one leading everything. Do you think you're worthy to compare yourself to me? Fong Ping sneered, mocking. If I had the combat strength of a heavenly king, even if an emperor came out and I couldn't defeat the other party, I would still bite him and let him taste pain. Even if he died, it would be satisfying. Do you think you're worthy to be mentioned in the same breath as me? I won't hold it in just because of so-called forbearance, so-called what the future will be like, until I explode from holding it in. Jiang Hao also sneered. If that's the case, you can go against the Sky Ceiling clan yourself. Fong Ping nodded, smiling. Sure. Do you think I don't dare? Wrong. I'm braver than you think. The Sky Ceiling clan is nothing. Fong Ping sneered. Let's wait and see. In my opinion, the Sky Ceiling clan is nothing but a rat. If they dare to show their faces, they will die sooner or later. You don't need money to brag. Then let's wait and see. Old tortoise like you continue to hide. That's pretty good too. At least you can live a little longer. Fong Ping scolded. Jiang Hao's face was livid. Fong Ping did not care what he thought. He did not delay. Before he left, he thought for a while and suddenly said mockingly, You're not even as good as Fatty Jiang. In this era, Fatty Jiang will be the emperor, not you. You don't believe me? Fong Ping laughed. The next moment, he punched the void. Opposite him, Jiang Chao looked confused, exposing his white belly. Right now, his mouth was dripping with grease. Jiang Hao frowned slightly. Fong Ping looked at the confused fatty and said coldly, Your grandfather died in battle in the Outland. I'll give you two choices. 1. Continue to hide in Star Town. 2. Go to the Outland to kill and take revenge personally. Grandfather died in battle. Jiang Chao was confused. After that, he flew into a rage. His vitality exploded with a rumble, breaking through the clouds. His eyes were bloodshot. Where did he die? Who killed him? A true god. I can't do anything. Do you dare to take revenge? Mother asterisk Kerr. Jiang Chao smashed the table in front of him with a punch. He said furiously, I killed 18 generations of his ancestors. Wait for me to take revenge personally. As soon as he finished speaking, he soared into the sky and disappeared in an instant. Fong Ping sealed the passageway. He glanced at Jiang Hao and sneered. He laughed mockingly and wantonly. The useless fatty in your eyes. Did you see that? Trash. Do you think you're fit to be a neo-martial artist? Fong Ping sneered again. He tore the space apart and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Jiang Hao stood rooted to the ground, speechless for a long time. An hour later, Star Town. Jiang Chao returned cursing and swearing. D***MN Fong Ping. Bastard. He made me miss a meal that I had prepared for a long time. He ran to the catacombs and was almost kicked to death by the old man. He ran to the old man's funeral and did not kill him because of his golden body. This bastard. How dare he make such a joke? I said it was Fong Ping who said it. The old man didn't believe me and beat me up again. Jiang Chao almost cursed Fong Ping to death. This was too much. Was this how he did things? Was it easy for him? Here in Star Town, he was busy with work every day. He also had to guard Star Town. Was it fun for him to make a trip? When he returned, swearing and swearing, Jiang Hao was hiding in the air. He looked at his nominal younger brother without saying a word. His expression kept changing. Neo-martial artist. When Fong Ping said that Jiang Yuanhua had died in battle, the seemingly useless younger brother did not feel sad or afraid. There was only anger, an anger that would not stop until he killed the enemy. Without hesitation, he went straight to the catacombs. Was he reckless? Very reckless. Brainless. He did not consider how big the gap between a rank 8 and a true god was. The difference was like heaven and earth. He could crush him with one finger. But he did not think about it. When he found out that Jiang Yuanhua did not die and was deceived by Fong Ping, he quickly reverted to his original self. A rank 8 golden body that was mocked for being afraid of death. This was neo-martial artists? Neo-martial artists, Jiang Hao murmured. Did he really understand what neo-martial artists were? He had reincarnated into this generation of neo-martial artists and lived for almost 30 years. Did he really know what neo-martial artists were? Even Jiang Chao, who was useless in his eyes, dared to get angry. It was beyond his imagination. He had thought about it. If one day, Warlord and Jiang Yuanhua died in battle, what would Jiang Chao's reaction be? Would he cry? Would his pants? Would he sigh and die of depression? Or would he be careful and be willing to be a normal person and live his life in obscurity? Today he saw it. Jiang Hao's expression changed. He looked at Jiang Chao below. The damn fatty had started eating again. After eating, he went to patrol the streets of Star Town. He called it guarding Star Town and fending off thieves. In fact, he was just walking his food. If he had not seen the scene earlier, would he have believed that Jiang Chao had such a brave side? I don't understand neo-martial artists, Jiang Hao murmured. His figure disappeared. He did not understand neo-martial artists. Even after living for a few decades, he still did not understand neo-martial artists. Magic City. Fong Ping went straight to the Sky Division. Old Man Li and Wu Quishan sensed his aura and rushed over quickly. Fong Ping did not waste time. He went straight to the point. Old Man Li, go test him. Fight him and see if there's a chance to go further. I won't make a move if I don't die. If I die, I'll make a move myself and kill everyone on this side. After that, I'll escape to the fake sky cemetery. If you guys are in trouble, go to the small world in Star Town's Heavenly King's eyes and ask for help from the god crafting envoy. Both of them were stunned. Fong Ping raised his hand and said calmly, "It's okay. It's nothing. A heavenly king hiding in the dark is very strong, but it's not the time to despair. If I leave, you guys seal the passageway and hide on Earth. Let the cat and Heavenly would guard the 4 directions. If someone is attacking, let Jiang Hao attack. He is the reincarnation of the Devil Emperor Unquestionable Sword. Summon Jiao, Li Wuji, and the people from the Xuanda Grotto. Also, at critical moments, you can find some people to help. Kaidai Linhai will do. As for Yu Wei, act according to the situation. Let the cat do it. Also, if I attack this time, I won't hide my aura. I'll lure the other party to the fake sky cemetery directly. You guys don't have to participate. Evacuate immediately. It just so happens that I haven't seen old Zhang and the others for a while. These guys are quite quiet over there. I'll fight all 4 directions alone outside. This time, I'll bring them a good opponent and let that old heavenly king subduing exercise his hands and feet. Only at this moment did Wu Quishan have a chance to interrupt. Does the other party really have a heavenly king? Yes. Fong Ping nodded. And there might not be only one. But don't worry if they dare to come. If a saint comes, I'll kill them directly. If a heavenly king comes, I'll escape. If there's anything, you can let the cat inform me. Actually, I should have gone a long time ago. I'm just worried about you guys. However, I'm the target of everyone now. It's better for me to leave. They want to kill me. Not all humans. Humans have the cat, Heavenly Wood, Jiang Hao, and the God Crafting Envoy. It's safer than now. If I, a thorn in their side, leave, they'll only set their sights on the fake sky cemetery. When the time comes, as long as they're careful, it'll be better than now. Fong Ping said and laughed. Actually, you guys know better than me how to deal with the catacombs. If you have to admit defeat, then admit defeat. If I want to be tough, you guys will be tough and soft. There's no need to be like me. When I fight my way out of the fake sky cemetery, I'll definitely be a heavenly king powerhouse. Don't worry, I've proven my heavenly king. I won't come out until I kill a heavenly king. You've already decided to leave? Wu Quishan looked at him with a solemn expression. Fong Ping was determined to leave. As for the so-called not to be hostile if he could, it was just empty talk. Fong Ping was silent for a moment, nodded and said, yes, I've decided. No matter if Old Man Li wins or loses, I'll kill those guys. Why? The other party is a hidden danger. I have to lure them away and nip them in the bud. Heavenly King is too dangerous. But no buts. Fong Ping laughed. What's the fake sky cemetery? It's the humans' own territory. Actually, we have more advantages there. We can leave if we want to, and we can stay if we want to. I also want to let old Zhang and the rest see how cowardly they are. In the past 2 months, I've killed more saints, emperor ranks, and true gods outside than all of them. Old Manly took a deep breath and said slowly, there's no room for negotiation? No. Fong Ping shook his head and said lightly, this lineage is very arrogant and sinister. They're not interested in ordinary people, but they're especially interested in geniuses. Geniuses are the target of their calculations. Now, the world's #1 genius is me, and the second is old Zhang. You're one too. There are too many human geniuses. If I, the #1 genius, don't lure them away, many of you will be in trouble. Don't worry, I can see it clearly. I'm not fooling around and provoking strong enemies for myself. This lineage has their eyes on geniuses. Unless I cripple myself now, otherwise my radiance will shine on the 3 realms and no one will be able to hide it. Wu Quishan sighed. Actually, you didn't have to say your last sentence. Fong Ping looked at him and asked curiously, did I lie? Am I not the world's #1 genius? Find a 21-year-old Saint Slayer, and I'll admit that I was wrong. Since you're not wrong, why can't you say it? Fong Ping curled his lips. Seriously, it was just the truth. What kind of attitude was this? Wu Quishan smiled bitterly and said helplessly, I'm afraid the Fengtian lineage did not expect you to make up your mind so easily. Really, no one had expected Fong Ping's current attitude. Kill. No matter whether Old Man Li won or lost, he would kill. He took the initiative to lure them out to chase after him and lure them into the fake heavenly grave. Fong Ping had never thought of letting the other party go, even if the other party had not harmed any humans at the moment. Wu Quishan was starting to sympathize with the people in the sea now, that annihilation or whatever, and the many demon powerhouses. Did these people think that Fong Ping was already prepared to kill all of them before he even made a move? It was not a consideration. He had made up his mind to kill all of them. The Fengtian lineage. They were an existence that even the God Forge Envoy was somewhat afraid of. It was obvious how terrifying they were in the eyes of those who knew. As for Fong Ping, he went out for a trip. His determination was frighteningly firm. Fong Ping did not care about this. Instead, he said with some anticipation, this time, old Zhang and the rest will probably be pleasantly surprised. I've sent them another big one. To be honest, it's meaningless to plot against these saints in the outside world. Go in and play with a bunch of heavenly kings, walk on a tightrope. This is the life that I, Fong Ping, should enjoy. Both of them were speechless. Did old Zhang know what you were planning? Achoo! I have a bad feeling about this. At this moment, in the fake sky grave, Zhang Tao's expression was frighteningly serious. A bad feeling, extremely bad. Even a heavenly king felt like dark clouds were looming over their heads. It was too scary. Beside him, Heavenly King Zhun also muttered, "It does feel like a catastrophe is coming. Kid Zhang, it seems like something big is going to happen. Did something happen to the humans?" "It doesn't seem like it," Zhang Tao said solemnly. "I feel like something is going to happen to us. Something big. Old Li is a powerhouse who has broken 8 going to make a move? Us?" Heavenly King Zhen frowned. "Something will happen to us? Who wants to go against us?" Indeed, he had a bad feeling. It felt like trouble was going to happen. However, at Spirit Emperor Dojo, everyone else was fighting with Hong Yu. They had no time to care about them. Why would something happen? Beside him, Zhang Tao's premonition was getting stronger. This won't do. Hurry and go to Hong Yu's side. Be careful. They might join forces against us. Old Li, don't hide your strength now. Send me away at the crucial moment. You fight to the death. If you really die, I will avenge you. Heavenly King Zhun's face darkened. He glared at him. "I won't die even if you die. I'm being serious." Zhang Tao said sternly. "You don't have any potential, but I do. Anyway, I have a bad feeling this time. I keep feeling like someone is plotting against us. Moreover, it's the kind that can really be plotted against." Heavenly King Zhun's expression gradually turned serious. He stopped talking, but he was puzzled. What kind of trouble was it that even he felt was trouble? Could it be that those people are really going to join forces against us? But it's not to that extent. What other reason could it be? Both of them racked their brains, but still could not understand where this bad feeling came from. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.